With all due respect to all you speedways out there, there's only one we call the Speedway. Over a century, the racing machines have changed. The names have changed. The track itself has changed. But the mission has not. Green means go, straight into the tire tracks of history.
A track that inspires awe and demands greatness. If you're to bask in its glory and become part of its history, the Speedway, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, where the engines are about to fire and get this 400-mile race underway. So many familiar landmarks from a century of racing, including the Pagoda. It's evolved over the years. The modern version today is where you'll find our ESPN broadcast booth. And we say hello for the 19th Brickyard 400, Alan Bestrick with two-time Brickyard winning driver Dale Jarrett and 1995 Brickyard champion crew chief Andy Petrie. For the drivers and teams, this is not just another race. Why is winning this race so different than most?
Well, and with all due respect to all the other racing venues, there's only one speedway in the world, and this is it right here. This is what all the drivers know about the history, everything that's happened here before them, the names on the trophies here of great champions of this sport, of being able to put your car in victory lane here. You know, it's a privilege and an honor to be able to race here. There's only one thing that really surpasses that, and that's the privilege that you get to go into victory lane and later today kiss the bricks.
Yeah, and you can debate about which race might be bigger to win and all that, but when you come here, it's different. I mean, this facility, it's got so much history, and you feel it when you drive under one of the tunnels. It's so massive, and you understand just how big it is to be here, the privilege to be here, and to go to victory lane. Well, it was a highlight of my career.
Privilege and honor to be here and to win here. It's so difficult to win here. Why?
Every team comes here with their best. The drivers understand this is a difficult racetrack to negotiate, and you have to be almost perfect for 160 laps here today. Do all the right things, and that includes the pit crew too.
Yeah, there's a lot of pressure on the pit crews to make that call. They don't want to make the wrong call, and they don't want. Yeah, they need to make the call at the right time to put their driver in the position that they can do the great things that we've seen done here.
Well, only one driver and one team will get a chance to celebrate that special Indianapolis win today. They'll have worked very hard to earn it. What driver that'll be? Well, that's the fun. We get to find out. And remember, this race, in its 19 years now history, always has that late twist of plot at the end. Time to go trackside and get it started.
And now, to say the most famous words in sports, is the chairperson of the board of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, Mary Holman George.
Gentlemen, start your engines.
Make sure you're back down by the time you get on the camera. Okay. How about you? Ready to go. What goes you on concrete and then the pavement, but
The bands, the balloons, the pomp and the pageantry are now over. Now it's time to go racing. No other driver in this field displays his passion for the Speedway more than Tony Stewart, the Indiana native who came here as a boy, sleeping in the luggage rack of an old bus while traveling with his family to see the 500. Now he's a two-time winner of the NASCAR race here and goes for victory number 3 today. Tony Stewart, our ESPN in-race reporter for the Brickyard. We'll talk with him on the pace laps next.
I gotta tell you, the people of Indiana love this place. They especially love to come here and root for one of their own. A boy who grew up in these grandstands, who fell in love with A.J. Foyt. That boy is now the champ, and A.J.'s number is now his. Back home again, together.
Carrying the number of his childhood idol and carrying it on in quite a fine fashion at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, a place that means so much to him. Indiana native Tony Stewart, our ESPN in-race reporter for this 19th running of the Brickyard 400. And certainly Tony Stewart has been amazing at this racetrack. Our Quicken Loans amazing at Indy, a two-time winner, 9 top 10 finishes in 13 starts. And Tony Stewart seeking that 3rd win at his favorite place today. He'll be rolling off here in just a second.
Let's talk to him. Hey, Tony Stewart. Dale Jarrett, you have a copy?
yes, sir.
Hey, Smoke, I know it's a huge week for you with all the history and everything and how much you get ready for this. I'm sure that you were just taking it easy last night, got a good night's rest.
Yeah, something like that. I mean, I did what I do to relax. I went to Eldora last night and watched the 50th anniversary of USAC coming to Eldora, watched their 50-lap main, and I ran a wing sprint car last night.
I don't think you just ran it. I think you won, if I'm correct about that.
Yeah, we had a pretty good night. They got a good field of cars there when we got lucky enough to get to the front of it. So got a good start, from last night. Hopefully it'll carry on to today.
Smoke, we had a lot of people writing in with our mailbag questions about what it may take to win here today. And Douglas in Thomasville, North Carolina asked, how are you going to get to the front as it is so hard to pass at Indy?
Well, as you know, I mean, you just got to be methodical about it. And 160 laps here doesn't sound like a long race, but it is. So you just got to do it one at a time. And we've got to be careful here at the start, being as far back as we are, and just be cautiously aggressive.
All right, we'll have fun watching you do that today. You have a great day now, and he's going to talk to your crew chief, Darian Grubb.
All right, bud, thanks.
Oh, my bad.
Hey, Steve Addington, Andy Petrie in the booth. You got us?
Hey, guys, how's it going?
Hey, pretty good, man. Hey, I got a question for you. If this thing gets down to the end, I want to kind of see what your philosophy might be. Would you rather have a fast car on brand new tires coming to the front, or would you like to have the lead and older tires at the front?
Well, I feel like we got the best in the business in that seat right there, so I'd take the lead and on old tires so we get that clean air, and that's what we're going to work for. I just want to say everybody on this Mobile One Office Depot Chevrolet has really dug in and worked hard all weekend, and feel like we got something here to go to work with.
Yeah, it sounds like you do. Sound like Smoke's pretty confident. But what about the tires? Is it going to fall off on speed-wise a lot? I mean, or is it going to be a big benefit to take new tires?
Well, it will if you have a caution here. Depends on your track position. See how it plays out. See how these first stops go and how you make your adjustments. 2 tires, 4 tires, and we'll do a little bit of pit stop strategy here to try to get this 14 car to the front. And I think if we can get him there, he can handle it from there.
All right, Steve. Thanks for talking to us, buddy. Good luck today.
Thank you.
Tony Stewart, our in-race reporter, our over-the-wall reporter today is Mark Armstrong, Hollywood, changing front tires for Stephen Light in the 33 car today. Hey, Hollywood, this pit road is long, but it's kind of tight for the crews down there, huh?
It's very tight down here. The intensity level's high. The pressure, it's building and boiling over. But one thing about it, the team that can execute today on pit road in this very small office space can have the ultimate chalk up in their career. They can go down and kiss the yard of bricks, and that will be an honor in itself.
Mark, appreciate it. Have a safe day down there.
Thank you, guys.
DJ, it's okay to be nervous before the start of Indy.
Oh, yeah, it is. Yeah.
Pace laps take a little bit of time here. We'll be back in plenty of time for the green flag. The Brickyard 400 about to get underway. The 2012 running of the Brickyard 400 about to get underway. Our telecast today presented by Golden Corral on a beautiful 84-degree day at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Remind you to check out NASCAR.com/RaceBuddy to watch live coverage today from here at the Brickyard. Follow your favorite drivers for free with 8 live cam reviews. NASCAR.com/RaceBuddy. And boy, we have some great onboard views for this 400-mile race today. Brad Keselowski, winner here yesterday, is carrying our Dodge onboard camera. Tony Stewart, the 2-time winner with the fresh from Florida Gulf Seafood camera. Clint Boyer's got the 5-hour energy on board. And Kyle Busch with the Goodyear camera. The 4-time winner, Jeff Gordon, with the Sprint onboard camera. And the defending winner, Paul Menard, with our Chevy on board. 2003 winner, Kevin Harvick, the Jimmy John's camera. And Dale Earnhardt Jr. with the amp on board, and there'd be a big roar if he were to go to victory lane today here in Indy. A lot of drivers want to win at Indy. Dave Burns, there's a couple that really need it.
And here's the reason why for Denny Hamlin. It would be huge here. The team, of course, would love to be the one that kisses the bricks today. But crew chief Darian Grubb told me that it would be a, quote, sigh of relief if we could win today, because a third win on the season would be more or less a lock to make the chase. And they know that they gave away that lock, that insurance, just a race ago at New Hampshire. And boy, are they anxious to get it back today. Vince Welch. For Jimmy Johnson, this is a special race and a special place. In fact, at a recent publicity appearance here, he actually went out onto the yard of bricks and imagined celebrating another victory, even found that place to plant his next kiss. He believes he's got a car that can contend today, but this 48 team will need to have the right strategy and the execution if they and their driver, Jimmy Johnson, are to kiss the bricks for a fourth time.
All right, fellas, let's get ready to go here. It's a beautiful day for a race. Very proud to be here leading this team here today. You guys have represented well so far this weekend. Go out there, have a good time at the most famous racetrack in the United States.
And speaking of representing the United States, Goodyear, the official tire of NASCAR, has been proudly supporting our troops for more than 100 years. Visit Goodyear.com to show your support and learn more. Had the pleasure of talking to some of the troops on hand here today a little while ago before we came on air. And we thank all of them for their service to our country. Well, it's a 400-mile race around a 2.5-mile racetrack. That means it's 160 laps. Around here, 4 quarters each lap. A lot of opportunity to advance and also opportunity to make a mistake and fall back. Strategy will be huge. It'll be a big part of this race. The competition is so deep in NASCAR Sprint Cup racing right now. You got to play every tool and every card in your hand to try and find a way to win. Field off of turn number 4. Pace car heads for pit road. Denny Hamlin and Carl Edwards on the front row. Crowd rising and cheering, and the Brickyard 400 is underway in Indianapolis. Hanging tough in that outside lane through the first couple of corners. He's to the left as you look at it. Denny Hamlin to his inside to turn 3 for the lead.
Yeah, Hamlin was glad to get a little bit of push from his teammate there. Carl Edwards showing a lot of power in the hood of that Ford right now.
Hamlin will get clear. Jimmy Johnson by Joey Logano. Here's Greg Biffle in the 16 to try and get a spot on the yellow car of Logano. '18 is Kyle Busch. You're on board with Jeff Gordon.
I had a report that there might be some trash on Gordon's the nose of his car. That's something we're going to be following and talking about quite a bit today, Andy. There's not much room for anything to get on there without creating big problems.
Well, they tune these things. They take and close that opening up to the minimum. They can't afford to have anything on. Looks like he's cleared it now. That is one thing you don't want, especially early in the race. For some reason, the cars will always run a little bit warmer for that first 10% of the race, and then they kind of actually cool back down. So at this part, you definitely don't want anything that's impairing the cooling.
Here comes some of the drafting that can come into play here at Indy. Regan Smith, 78. Casey Kane, 5. And sometimes with drafting comes blocking.
Yes, it does. And you have to know as a driver that you've got to make sure that you're giving enough room to that car that has a head of steam going. Here comes Casey with a nice move off the corner. That's really where you set yourself up to make these passes. Casey Kane was fast in practice, just didn't get in a very good qualifying effort yesterday.
Just about had position on Regan Smith, but Regan able to power away. Actually, look now, he's looking past Montoya.
Four of the last 6 races here in Indianapolis for the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series have had a caution in the first 5 laps. Oftentimes, it's in turn 2. Just saying. Jimmy Johnson, the 3-time winner and 5-time champion, looking for second place on Carl Edwards.
Well, I like the way Jimmy's car looks, I'll tell you that. It really looks good the way it's coming off of turn 2 to these long straightaways, and that's probably the most important place to be good is off of turn 2 to turn 4.
That was a situation there. Carl Edwards getting a little bit of pressure from Jimmy Johnson. Too early to try to fend that off right now. Carl pull over and go back to the third spot and race for a while.
There's Earl Barman, Jimmy Johnson's spotter, saying, we might have something for him today, boys.
Yeah, he sees what I see.
Yeah, a fast race car.
He's got a 3-time winner at this place behind the wheel of that thing. I think they definitely do.
Dale, you've won here twice, driven many, many laps around this racetrack. We saw that shot where the cars come screaming through at the edge of the grass in turn one. Is there any way you can describe for us just how delicate it is to drive one of these race cars at speed around here?
Yeah, to see Jeff Gordon making a pass with Joey Logano now, but it is a thrill, especially in the turns 1 and 3, and more into 1 because it seems to be a little more closed up and you have less room to get in there. But you think about well over 200 miles an hour, making a hard left corner there. It's really a thrill as a driver, and you know that you've only got about a 5 or 6 inch line that if you miss that there, then the lap's not going to be nearly as good, and you have to start looking in your mirror, looking around as to who's caught you there.
Yeah, and that precision you're talking about, it'll come into play today. Somebody's going to get too low in those corners. They're going to get on that grass. They're going to kick it up for the competitors behind them. And we've seen that be a problem for many years coming here. They've done a lot of things to try to mitigate that, but it's still there. You can still get down too low and get that grass.
Be on the front side of the pagoda, and Jason will be on the back. Is that correct? In 4, that's correct. Yeah, one thing we just had to be kind of clear today because I'm not too familiar with your voice or Chad's voice on the radio, just to make sure I know who's talking, you know. Copy that.
Just one of the challenges that you have here at Indianapolis. The track is so big, they use multiple spotters. Most teams do. And, of course, remember, Carl working with a new crew chief, Chad Norris, as well. But Chad told me before the race, Carl's been great all week. He spent extra time with him so they could make sure they're on the same page communication-wise today.
Right, Vince, we'll keep an ear on the 99 radios as Kyle Busch zips past Greg Biffle to pick up the 4th spot.
Kyle Busch was really good in the nationwide race yesterday. Didn't get a victory after a few issues, but we really expected him to be fast here today. His flat track program, because there's only 9 degrees of banking in the corners here, and you don't utilize that 9 degrees of banking, but it's really improved. And I think that Kyle, in talking to Denny Hamlin, his teammate, has changed his driving style on these flatter tracks a little bit, and it seemed to help him quite a bit.
Tony Stewart trying to pick his way forward in that 14. Remember that Smoke started back in 28th spot, and that's a lot of work to get toward the front of the pack on this track.
They do have a lot of work to do. I spent some time in their garage this morning with Steve Addington, and they were making a lot of changes. They were still up on the scales, making final changes this morning on that car because it was not where Smoke wanted it like yesterday in practice.
So Tony up to 22nd position in the opening 7 laps of racing here at Indianapolis. The Brickyard 400, telecast presented by Golden Corral. Every lap so far led by Denny Hamlin, but it's very early. Looking down on race leader Denny Hamlin at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, the 19th Brickyard 400. Our telecast presented by Golden Corral. About 25 miles of that 400 are complete. Fans, which driver do you think will be first to finish out of this week's top 4 qualifiers? Hamlin, Edwards, Logano, or Almirola? Text FAST to 34783 or go to AT&TFastestDriver.com to play. You could have a chance to win 4 Gs by playing along in today's AT&T Fastest Driver Challenge. And each week you'll have the chance to make your pick and see where you stack up against the rest. Caution free in the early going. Mike Bliss has gone back behind the wall in the 19 car. The other 42 are on the lead lap.
Now, does your gauges look okay?
Yeah, gauges are good. I'm going to run one more lap. Anything I can do?
Well, there you hear and see Carl Edwards off the pace in the 99 car. Had just lost third. Had just lost third place to Kyle Busch, and now he's slowing down.
What a horrible feeling as a driver. You get so excited and up and prepared for this. They had a strong qualifying effort in something like this early in the race.
I heard a loud pop.
Coming to you. Let's lift the hood, okay?
See, he's not really even got the throttle down much.
Feel like fuel or anything, Carl, or is it you definitely think it's something else? It's out of spring or plug wires are burning up or something like that, okay? It's one cylinder at least.
Yeah, he's just trying to baby it back to the pit area.
Not the way that Carl wanted his Indianapolis to unfold, and certainly not for Chad Norris. In his first race as Carl's crew chief, talked about, and we saw in our opening, all the work that goes into preparing your best piece to take a shot at winning on this so demanding track.
Here, we got to keep all the points we can get. Choose our brains.
Yeah, still got to stay focused. You heard right there, Carl say, hey, we've got to get all the points we can. Just figure it out. If we can fix it, let's fix it. It is a big letdown, though.
Here he is, Vince.
You heard the radio transmission between Carl Edwards and his crew chief, Chad Norris, about Carl trying to provide a diagnosis from the cockpit. The hood is up and they are inspecting, but as you guys indicated, certainly not the kind of performance or result this team needed as it pursues a spot in the chase.
Edwards began the day 11th in the championship, 46 points from 10th place. Remember, the top 10 on points make the cut to race for the championship. The final two drivers, most wins of drivers between 11th and 20th. Carl with no wins this season, and now falling further behind that 10th place.
Try to cut it off one time, Carl, and restart it.
Yeah, the process here, they're
Shut the master off and then restart it.
They're trying to figure out which cylinder is dead. That's the first thing they're trying to do. And if they can't identify one particular cylinder that's for sure that's not hitting, they'll go back and look at other things. And that's what they're trying to do here. They don't see a smoking gun, so they want to say, okay, let's reset it and see if it's something in the computer.
All right, clear out 4,500. Clear out 4,500.
Jack Roush, team owner, so involved in engines. Watching as his car now heads back out onto the racetrack, having lost a couple of circuits to leader Denny Hamlin. So there's the gap, first to second. Hamlin to Jimmy Johnson, that's 1.5 seconds. And you see Kyle Busch closing in on Jimmy Johnson for that runner-up spot.
One thing I'm seeing right now, the fastest lap has been by Denny Hamlin. Early in the race, he ran a 50.66. He's 2 seconds plus slower than that now.
Jamie McMurray, the 2010 winner on pit road early, Dave.
Scheduled stop, Alan. If you start counting, you can make this a 5-stop race based on starting now, actually with a little bit of insurance. So they're going to come in now, run it backwards like a road course race. Up on the track bar, car was a little bit tight. 2 right side tires.
To make this work right, he needs to stay on the lead lap, and he was about 24 seconds behind when he came off the track.
Seems like a huge gamble, but I think a lot of these crew chiefs and teams are ready to take a gamble here to try to win the race today.
You're right, Dale. There's a lot of talk down there that you might see a lot of different strategies out there today just because of that. There's a lot of ways that you can get this thing done.
9th place here, Eric Almirola and Richard Petty's 43, and Martin Truex Jr., who's climbed up nicely over the opening laps of this race in that 56.
Good to see Truex running well here. Boy, they started out the season really strong, got themselves in a nice position points-wise, still are inside the top 10. As of late, the finishes haven't been quite as good as what they started out with, but having a nice solid effort here so far.
Started in 17th, he's up to 10th now in the opening run of this race. So Carl Edwards, the second place starter, in trouble early. Jamie McMurray's team making the first of the strategy plays, and Denny Hamlin leading all of the laps so far. Major League Baseball tonight on ESPN with that bitter rivalry. The Boston Red Sox and the New York Yankees split the first 2 games of the series. They'll face off in the Bronx tonight at 8. Then tomorrow at 7, Albert Pujols and the Angels look to unseat the AL West leading Rangers, anchored by Josh Hamilton. Sunday Night Baseball presented by Taco Bell. Monday Night Baseball presented by USAA on ESPN. Both games available on ESPN3, live on WatchESPN.com and the Watch ESPN app. First 50 miles of the Brickyard 400, telecast presented by Golden Corral, are in the books. Denny Hamlin leading, Jimmy Johnson and Kyle Busch beginning to close.
Andy, you were talking about that fast lap and how much they slowed down. It's over 2.5 seconds now that Denny Hamlin has slowed down from his fast lap.
Carl Edwards back in 39th spot, 2 laps down, Vince.
Carl says that the oil pressure and the fuel pressure are fine, but it sounds like a header's broke. They were discussing whether or not to come back in and look at it further and continue to work on it, but Carl said, as long as it's running the way it is, I'd prefer to stay out. So they're going to defer to Carl's suggestion, and he'll stay out as long as he can. He said, if it's terminal, we're going to be done anyway. Let's just stay out and see what happens.
Yeah, the bad thing here is if it's just a header or something like that, he's going to feel pretty bad about making that pit stop and sitting there for 2.5 laps while they try to figure it out. If it's just a header, he could have kept running. It would have only lost about, I don't know, maybe 20, 25 horsepower, which is a lot, but it would have kept running. And right now, he's running close to the leader's lap time. Well, he was a little slower in the last lap, but there are laps that he has run pretty close to the leader's time.
Denny Johnson closing little bits at a time on Denny Hamlin. Yeah, that looks like a little trash on the grill of that 48 to me.
You know, with the lap time slowing down so much over the run, you're going to see some great racing. You'll see some cars, because Hamlin comes into play so much, you'll see cars that make runs like Jimmy is, and different parts of the run, you'll see a car that's better than others. I see Jeff Gordon has been making some really good laps from the start. He's about, he's 4 seconds back now, but he's been making some headway.
A little crash on the lower left side of the grill of that 11 car also.
And I've seen Denny change his line just a little bit. He'd been having his left side tires just right on that white line. Now he's moved down there as the tires have given up a little bit of grip, giving himself a little bit more room to get down there and find a little bit more grip underneath that white line.
So in last year's race, it was lap 25 when the leaders began making green flag pit stops. Kevin Harvick, not one of the leaders right now. Doc, he's in 24th.
You know, Alan, he struggled all weekend with getting the handle on the car in practice and in qualifying. That's why he qualified back in 27th. And, of course, it's not much better today. Listen in.
52.90 on the tip. That's 4. We might as well pit. Might as well do something. This is terrible. Worse than it was in practice.
And what the terrible means is the car is plowing on the corner entry. It's plowing on exit, and suddenly the car will just snap sideways. He said, I'm going to spin out, I'm going to spin out. So he has got his hands full out there. Guys?
All right, Doc, thanks. As we were riding on board with Kevin Harvick, you saw Brad Keselowski dive onto the pit lane. Doc?
Brad Keselowski trying to get his first stop of the day. The winner from yesterday getting his Dodge in. This is our scheduled pit stops, guys. On the scheduled pit to be able to come in and leave. Minimal air pressure change on Brad Keselowski's cars. He is down and away.
Andy, we were starting to talk about the strategy before when Jamie McMurray made the early move to pit road.
Yeah, Jamie was about, like I said, 24 seconds behind when he made that stop. He only changed right sides, got back out there, still was a lap down. And to really make advantage of that, if you're going to play it without risking a lot, you need to be within about 20 seconds of the lead. That way you stay on the lead lap and you can take advantage of that. Here comes the 20, Dave.
And he's had a car that was pretty decent in practice. They'll go ahead and make some changes for Joey Logano, try to get him back out on the speedway.
Leaders bypassing the opening of pit road there. And Johnson continuing to creep closer and closer to Denny Hamlin.
And these drivers were telling me at what little they saw in practice that as they got closer to a car, they picked up an aero push that made it a little bit more difficult. Vince?
Not too bad of a car for Mark Martin. They just put 4 tires on it, filled it up with Sunoco fuel.
Also pitting that last lap, we saw Logano and Martin, Jeff Burton, Montoya, Harvick. And Landon Castle was in. Here's Greg Biffle in for a stop. Headed toward Dave.
Alan, his car started the day, in his words, aero tight. And then he radioed in, I can't tell if it's loose or tight on exit. Crew Chief Matt Pusch vowing, we will get you some grip. That is a track bar adjustment and air. Vince?
The biggest issue for the 88 of Dale Earnhardt Jr. is just the water temperatures have been going up, and they've had some temperature difficulties because of that trash on the grill. So they cleaned the grill, 4 tires for Dale Jr.
And you see the leaders, the top 2 anyway, coming down pit road. Behind some of the cars that are exiting. It's Jimmy Johnson first to hit his pit stall.
Jimmy's been pretty pleased with the car, but they are going to make a track bar adjustment. Going to go down 1 round, Sunoco fuel and 4 tires. No major complaints for the 48. Dave Burns?
Minor complaints for Denny Hamlin. Tight in the center, and it's causing an exit issue as well. He also will get that track bar adjustment and air pressure adjustment, and they will fill it full of Sunoco fuel. Remember, going full stints here on a full load of fuel, very important.
Look at the race off pit road. Now they'll have a drag race around that exit road.
That was a nice little race. That's totally flat down there. Jimmy Johnson gets the lead there from Denny Hamlin.
Vince?
The 21 of Trevor Bayne, he said experience is going to be the big key for him today. They made a track bar adjustment, also an air pressure adjustment, 4 tire change. It's a little loose at the end of the run. Mike?
Jeff Gordon saying he's tight in, loose off, more concerned about the exit than anything else. A load of Sunoco race fuel going in, also a 4 tire change on Jeff Gordon's race car. Dave?
Kyle Busch said his car was difficult to turn in the center of the corner. When it exited the corner, it was loose. He will get a full load of Sunoco fuel. He will get 4 tires. They'll make an air pressure adjustment for Kyle.
Yesterday's runner-up and former Indy 500 winner Sam Hornish in for his scheduled top. Great fuel mileage for the Dodgers. Keep that in mind, guys. Going to be 4 tires for Hornish. Chassis adjustment. A little bit snug on the entry. A little snug on exit. Going to top it off with Sunoco fuel. Now left side tires going on Hornish's Dodge.
And that will, for the most part, complete the cycle of pit stops for the lead lap cars. The big rush on and off the pit lane. Jimmy Johnson closing on Denny Hamlin before the stops, getting off the pit lane a little bit faster than the 11. And now the new leader of the race is the 5-time champ. And there's the gap first to second. You see Kyle Busch losing a little bit of ground on that exchange of pit stops in that bright yellow M&M's car. "75 miles into the Brickyard 400. Telecast presented by Golden Corral. Jimmy Johnson now out front.
32 laps in at the Brickyard 400, and Carl Edwards already in trouble. So many hopes for him coming in this week with a new crew chief, Chad Norris. They qualified second, but having an issue under the hood. Right now, Edwards in 36th, 2 laps down. How about this guy, the driver on the move, Dale Earnhardt Jr.?
Junebug is coming, Jack. He's up 13 spots since we started this race. He is on a rail. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is really making his way towards the front. One of the fastest cars on the track.
Kind of made fun for Rusty picking Jimmy Johnson to win this race earlier, saying, way to go out on a limb. We'll get to that in a second, but first, race fans, check out NASCAR.com/RaceBuddy to watch coverage live from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Follow your favorite drivers for free with 8 live camera views. Log on to NASCAR.com/RaceBuddy. In the lead, we have the guy that I was making fun of you for, Jimmy Johnson. No surprise, he's won here 3 times before, so I just said it's kind of an obvious choice.
Well, it makes a lot of sense to me. I went down and talked to Chad Knaus and talked to Jimmy Johnson this week. This is the car that they won Dover, Delaware with. They said this car responded so well. Every change they made, it worked for him at Dover. They pulled it out of the line. Chad's been rubbing on this car ever since that race, getting it ready for here at Indy. Jimmy says he loves this car. As soon as he got it on the track, it just handled perfect. So no surprise to see the 48 leading right now. And
he got that lead on an exchange in pit stops. He was able to pass Denny Hamlin on pit road. The one of Jamie McMurray has used some interesting strategy. Dave, what's going on?
Nicole, he was on pit road on lap 16. Now, there is a backward strategy you can use here to pit early and then divide up the rest of your day. But Kevin Mannion just told me the car was so tight, difficult to turn, that Jamie really wanted to come in and change, and that really forced that strategy. He said they can go about 31 laps on fuel, so expect them down pit lane about lap 47.
Ray, yay or nay?
You know what? It looks like a nay right now, because even though he gained time, he was able to move up because they took less fuel. Came in at lap 15, he took 2 tires, but now as the run goes on, you can see his car is much slower than the guys on 4 tires. I think he's probably going to give those spots back plus.
It'll be interesting to see how this one plays out, Alan.
Sure will, Nicole. And behind Jimmy Johnson, the race leader. Fight beginning to shape up for the second spot. There's Johnson putting the lap on Dave Blaney in the 36. And Kyle Busch, remember we saw the gap. He was behind Denny Hamlin, but now he's caught his teammate for that runner-up spot.
Yeah, Kyle was really fast in that first run. He had to make a few passes early on. Might have used up some of his tires at that point in time and kind of leveled off by the time we got right before pit stops. But seems to have an extremely fast race car. You can see what he's dealing with too a little bit as he get up close to these cars. You just lose the front end a little bit.
You see him reaching to the dash, turn on the switch. They can manipulate the handling of the car a little bit with these fans that they have. They can turn on and off the fans that blow on the tires. And if they've got a condition, say the car's tight, they can blow air on the front tires and try to help that. If it's loose, they'll turn those fans off, let those tires build up in the front, try to help balance it. See, Kyle is really flipping those switches about every straightaway.
Watch that top end speed. 204.
They're getting it on.
Yes, sir.
I like to look at that minimum speed. That's like 150 miles an hour through the middle of the corner. Pretty fast for a flat corner, 90-degree corner.
One of the things that always is so difficult to translate when you watch someone like Kyle Busch there, it doesn't look like he's working hard behind the wheel of that car. The G-forces and so on, as you're wheeling this heavy race car through these flat corners, it really is a physical force on the driver's body.
Yeah, it really is. There's a lot more to it here than what Kyle Busch is showing. And I'm amazed every time that we look inside of Kyle's car to see just how easy he's making this look a lot of times. That he's just so talented and he looks so at ease in there. And that's whenever you can do special things like a Jimmy Johnson or Denny Hamlin or Kyle Busch.
Now Jimmy Johnson got to the exit of pit road on the green flag stop, side by side with Denny Hamlin. Passed him on the exit lane to take over the lead at Indianapolis. Caution flag is out for the first time at Indianapolis. Travis Quapple's machine, those sparks are not normal. And they're not good.
Yeah, let's go to the garage with it.
Right front down. Pretty hard lick on the right side.
Question is, which came first, the right front down or the hit on the right side?
Yeah, you probably have to think that maybe he could have gotten into something and either ran over something or cut that right front tire. You would have to think that. Oh, yeah, that right front let go. That could have been from overuse of the brakes or just running over something on the track. These Goodyears are pretty durable, so they're not just going to give up that quickly.
Yeah, the tire wear has been extremely good since they've gone for this new style compound. Haven't seen any issues there.
First yellow of the race comes out at the 100-mile mark.
Sure, this is a nice break for a lot of people that want to do some work on the cars, but probably a bigger break for Jamie McMurray on that strategy that he was employing there.
Yeah, it turned out to be a net gain. He's still in 18th spot. He was actually probably 24th when he made that stop. So it did turn out to be a net gain by making that short stop. He's headed to the back, but he got a caution at the right time.
Leaders were not on pit road all that long ago. A lot of strategy here.
Yeah, you could see some two tires here, but I'm just watching these lap times, though, that there's so much to be gained with 4 tires that I wouldn't put 2 tires on my car.
We'll watch and find out. And leaders are in, Mike.
And Jeff Gordon saying he's still a little bit tight in the center, but when it does turn, says he has no grip on entry. They're going to make a track bar adjustment. Also going to take right side tires and fuel on the 24 car as they complete service on the right side. And they're away, Vince.
The 48 of Jimmy Johnson. It's going to be a 2-tire stop for Jimmy. Liked his race car, Dave.
Kyle Busch second, Denny Hamlin third. On the right side of your screen, third and second. There'll be 2 tires for Kyle. They want to bring him up a little bit because of the 2 tires, and 2 for Denny as well.
Kyle Busch having trouble getting away. There he goes.
A lot of black smoke coming out the exhaust pipe of that 18. It was flooded with fuel somehow.
Over yet. Did it finally fire up? Tell me who I came out with. Came out third.
Car takes off okay, then all of a sudden it just, that black smoke is just, it's loading up with fuel in the cylinders.
So you heard Kyle being told he came out third. Here's the scoring line. First, second. Waiting for third. Still under caution in Indianapolis. Reminder that coming up tonight on ESPN2 at 7 Eastern, the finals of the NHRA Sonoma Nationals. And then next weekend, a NASCAR doubleheader on Saturday night, ESPN2, 7:30, the Nationwide Series at the Rusty Wallace-designed Iowa Speedway. Always a good race out there. And next Sunday, the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series at the 2.5-mile, three-cornered Pocono Raceway. Our coverage starts at noon Eastern here on ESPN. So stories to catch you up on before we go racing. Those cars you see in front of the pace car are taking a wave around. More on that in a minute. The guy right of your screen, the new leader, is Brad Keselowski. And Doc, they did not pit under this yellow.
Alan, he went from 22nd to first because Paul Wolf opted to keep him on the racetrack. Paul, why stay out?
We just, it's so hard to pass here. The car he felt was pretty good. We could get in some clean air and, you know, looking at our fuel windows and whatnot, we're in a position where we feel like we'd take a little gamble. And this race isn't very long, and we went so many green laps there. We felt like this was our opportunity to try something before it got too late in the race.
All right, good race car, need a clean air. Now he's got it. Dave Burns.
Doc, I caught up with Dave Rogers, crew chief, on Kyle Busch's smoke belching number 18 when he left pit road. I said, do you have any idea what it is? He said, no. I said, you think it's a problem? He said, ha, we'll find out.
I haven't seen anything like that, Andy.
No, I haven't either. I'm not sure what that was. It was definitely too much fuel in the cylinders for some reason or another, not being burned.
All right,
I don't know if it's ignition or fuel related.
Sorry, I thought you were done there. So off the pit lane, remember we saw Kyle Busch, who came out across that scoring line just behind Denny Hamlin and Jimmy Johnson, but because he didn't maintain speed, where he came up to speed and fell in line is back there. Kyle's going to restart in 13th position. Free pass, 83 car landed Castle. 5 cars took a wave around to get on the lead lap. Give you those in a moment. First, let's watch this restart. Out of the groove as Johnson goes for the lead.
Still trying to get his car back down to the bottom side of the racetrack. I would have to say that he probably just didn't get those left sides cleaned off very good before that restart as he drove off into turn 1.
Greg Biffle, 16. Joey Logano, 20. Third place. And the Biff moves forward.
That was Jeff Gordon trying to follow Biffle and get inside of Joey Logano's got that spot. It looks like trouble now.
Clint Boyer. Caution is out.
Contact at the left rear.
Keep an eye on the left front fender, guys. Don't let it get tore up. Let me know where the leader's at. Just coming up a 4. Just coming up a 4.
Clint Boyer, 27th at the time. That intense action you saw after the restart in the pack. And obviously he got the worst of the shuffling and jockeying.
Behind the left rear. Spoiler's actually up a little bit. It'll be fine. Be fine.
See Clint trying to take care of that left front fender.
Left rear quarter down.
Left front's flat. You can see the steering wheel shaking.
Bringing out our second caution of the afternoon. Well, fans, the fifth running of the...
There's Boyer right of the screen in the 15.
There's where the damage came in the left front fender.
Flat. Inside, inside. Hang on to it there.
So Clint Boyer, 27th at the time, now on the pit lane with damage. And the second caution of the race is out.
Four tires, come on. We got it. We got it. Make sure to get it up. Come on, boys. Four tires. Don't worry about it. Pull it out. Pull the left rear quarter panel out a little bit. All right, let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. You're clear. Go, 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 go.
Trying to get Clint off the pit lane with fresh tires.
Left front fender's fixed already.
Before the pace car brings the field around and drops that 15 car a lap down.
Yeah, and these drivers all know these restarts. There's two things about them. They're nerve-wracking because there's not a lot of racing room out there, but these drivers know that's a great time to make up some spots.
A lot happened in that last little stretch of the race. Clint Boyer bringing out caution for the second time. Jimmy Johnson now back ahead of the pack here in the Brickyard 400 at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Back at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway working the second caution of the Brickyard 400. Here's KFC fresh off the wire. Jimmy Johnson back in charge. Took the lead from Brad Keselowski on that last restart. And this second caution waiting for Clint Boyer with a spin in turn number 2 after some contact with Juan Pablo Montoya. Denny Hamlin, one of the leaders on the last restart, running third, but slipped down in the corner, wound up back in 14th place.
See, he was able to get in front of his teammate Joey Logano and let him down in there. I think, again, maybe Denny just didn't get those left sides cleaned off. Getting that two-tire stop really looked like it hurt Denny quite a bit there, Dave.
DJ, there was some radio between Denny and Darian Grubb, his crew chief. It sounded like this.
You all right there, bud? It just took off like I had a flat. Now I got no grip. 20th. Nice, 10-4, bud.
And I double-checked with Darian, and they are okay except for that one thing, that track position.
Yeah. It's easy to give up. Awfully hard to get back.
It is.
And they worked so hard in getting the pole and then doing all the right things there to make sure that they were in the front of this field as much as they could today. And all it takes is one slip. We said early in the show, got to do everything right here.
We'll have a chance to make this up because it did happen early, but that was still a setback.
So field doubling up for the restart. On the last restart, the inside line really advanced, and the outside line didn't go so well. So I want to point you to Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 88 car, third on that inside lane. He picked up 5 spots in the brief few laps of racing on that last restart, and now he's just third back on that inside row.
Yeah, it's just so treacherous on that outside. You can see that gray area. And when you get your right side tires in there, you just have to slow down till you can get the car under control.
See, Kurt Busch, that last pit stop, he's the first car in this lineup that took 4 tires. He made up some ground on that start, too. Having to get by a few cars. He's got, like I said, he's the first car with 4 tires, but he is starting on the outside.
So we'll see how it all plays out. And you see Kyle Busch just ahead of Kurt Busch, who made up a little of the ground that he lost with that problem exiting pit road.
That goes just what you were saying, Alan. He was 13th on the inside, was able to really make up some ground early.
Quick bit of housekeeping on the all those wave rounds that last time by. Guys that come back on the lead lap: Bobby Labonte, Dave Blaney, David Gilliland, David Reagan, David Stremme. Free pass on this caution. Casey Mears, he's back on the lead lap in 32nd place.
Boyer did stay on the lead lap. He's at 29th.
And we're going to try it again. These difficult flat corners, so treacherous, just one car at a time. Put them double wide and fighting for position. And you know the competition is so equal in the Sprint Cup Series these days, you've got to get all you can before the field singles out.
These drivers are well aware of that, and they know there's not much racing room to get it done on.
Jimmy Johnson, 48. Brad Keselowski in the 2 alongside. Coming back up to speed. Junior, 88, on the move with some drafting help from Matt Kenseth in the 17.
Got a huge push right there to go by Jeff Gordon.
But Kenseth not able to finish the pass. Gordon able to defend. There's Casey Kane in the 5 inside of Kurt Busch in the 51.
Casey Kane, somebody else will have to watch throughout this day. Seems to be on a march. Get himself up inside that top 10 as he's done now. Oh, you see the 22 of Sam Hornish wiggled just a little bit right there. That's all that Kevin Harvick needed.
Sam Hornish Jr., the former Indy 500 winner, driving that Penske 22 after the suspension indefinitely of its regular driver for this season, A.J. Allmendinger. Due to a violation of NASCAR's substance abuse program, Allmendinger has already entered NASCAR's Road to Recovery program, hoping for reinstatement. Team owner Roger Penske here at the Speedway today, telling reporters that he'll have a conversation with Allmendinger this week, and they'll discuss what lies ahead.
See Trevor Bayne there, young driver here, and the Wood brothers number 21 making a pass on Eric Almirola, or trying to.
Almirola on that 43 was running 21st at that last caution. He was the first one to peel off and hit the pit lane. So all these cars on back made a pit stop under that last yellow.
Bowyer's car is up to speed pretty good. He had that damage behind the left rear wheel and that damaged left front fender. They were able to repair that, get him back out without losing a lap.
See, Bayne actually lost a spot there in trying to make that pass. I believe he probably got a little bit loose being side by side. Montoya was able to take advantage. Now he's trying to get this spot back.
Made it look easy that time.
So things have sorted out since the restart. And we are 54 laps in, approaching 150 miles of the Brickyard 400. Our telecast presented by Golden Corral. Let's take an inside look and get unlimited access to the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series. Brought to you by the NASCAR Sprint Cup mobile app and the truly unlimited data on the Sprint Network. Brad Keselowski, today's biggest mover, did not pit under the caution flag at lap 42 when all the other front runners did. So Keselowski up 20 positions in the race so far today. Get unlimited access to NASCAR with live in-car audio and real-time stats on the NASCAR Sprint Cup mobile Android app, only from Sprint, the only network with truly unlimited data. Learn more at sprint.com/speed. Brad Keselowski had fallen to third behind the 16 of Greg Biffle and just got that second position back.
I'm impressed because he's got older tires than the rest of the cars around him. And he did drop back initially, but now he's going back forward. Like you said, passing Greg Biffle.
Change for fourth.
Yeah, Jeff Gordon on the march again. Like after he got kind of settled in after about 3 or 4 laps, that his car started coming back to him after that restart.
24 car, looks like it's got good long run speed from what I've been seeing. But all of this is going on behind Jimmy Johnson, who is clear of the field by 2 seconds after his quick getaway from all the racing behind him after the last restart. Let's go up to speed with Nationwide Insurance and update you on some of the front runners. I can see him in the pit right in front of our position in the pagoda. Vince Welch is there, but we're going to hang on just a second with our up to speed because we might see some pit road action right here.
See Keselowski now making that stop. He was due to make a stop earlier than the rest of the leaders.
No penalties here. No penalties. Here, 10 away.
Paul Wolf playing the fuel mileage game with Brad Keselowski. Now by waiting for this pit stop, they can now make it on 2 more stops. Getting about 35 miles for a tank of fuel. Left side tires going on, topping it off with Sunoco fuel, and yesterday's winner is away.
What do you think, Andy?
Well, I like his strategy. I tell you, Paul Wolf just does such a great job on that box. He's always thinking just a little bit outside of the box. So what can I do to get my car to the front? He did that, stayed out, and the car is really fast. I'm surprised they were not up at the front of the field when the race started, and he stole some track position there.
All right, Vince, you ready to go to work? We go up to speed with Nationwide Insurance. It's all yours on the leader.
Well, Jimmy Johnson reporting that his car after that 2-tire pit stop is a little more free, but it has stabilized. He said if we go back to 4 tires, I think we're going to be right back where we were, which means really, really good. Dave?
Vince, I had a question for the spotter for Greg Biffle this morning, Joel Edmonds, who knows Greg very well. I said, Greg's known as such an aggressive driver, but this is such a technical track. How can he be so fast here? Joel said he's aggressive, but with car control. You've got to have both. Greg's headed today, and he's running second. Mike?
Before that last stop, Jeff Gordon was saying his car was tight in the center. They took right side tires and made a track bar adjustment. Since then, Jeff very happy, saying the car's very decent. Plans to use this run to, as he says, make some hay. The only concern, running just a little bit warm, Vince.
Well, the 88 of Dale Earnhardt Jr. started this race 20th all the way up to 4th, and they've had to play no major strategy game, although they did take 2 tires. Jr. says the car is starting to free up a bit, but it's still not too bad.
Vince, no word from Kyle Busch on that belching motor. It seems to be back up to speed, and Kyle running very well. He's said nothing about the car handling-wise since that last round of yellow flag where they did not come to pit road. You see him reaching the switches there, but so far nothing amiss with the engine. His teammate Joey Logano right now for his car, he has no grip according to the driver, and in order to put the gas back down, he's got to wait longer than he wants to when he gets when he's coming off of the corner. Now behind him, Matt Kenseth in the 17 car. Remember, that car hit the wall twice before they ever went racing this weekend. Once in practice, once in qualifying. Jimmy Fenning told me this morning he should be fine. He was scowling at that fender while they worked on it this morning, but they got it right, and Matt's running in the top 10. Doc?
As for Kurt Busch, he was the first car off of pit road that took 4 tires. They took time to pull a rubber out of the left rear. Kurt says it's a little bit loose now late, but it is manageable. We have got a good race car here. Kurt Busch very excited about the car he's got right now. Dave Byrne.
Regan Smith in the 78 running 9th and carrying the names of the victims from the Aurora, Colorado tragedy. He's running well for them today. His car was very loose at the start of the race. They've made major adjustments to it, and now it is tight in the middle of the corner. When you get on either side of the adjustments, you start to know where you can land to be good. Mike?
Dave, the 56 team took only right side tires on the last stop, and at the beginning of this run, there was some concern for Martin Truex. He said the car was plowing and had no grip. That was just a couple laps into the run, but it has settled down. He said that's gone away. The car's much better now as they've got some heat in the tires. Guys?
All right, Mike and gang, there's an update on your top 10. Let's also update Brad Keselowski, who pitted from second a moment ago and stayed on the lead lap.
Yeah, that's the key thing. He got 4 tires. If that caution comes out now, he'll stay out, get that lead back. We're going to have to keep an eye on this car because he might not be at the front all day, but when it comes down to the end, he's going to be there because Paul Wolf has figured out the strategy to get him there.
Jimmy Johnson, the 3-time winner and the 5-time champion, has led the most laps so far today in the Brickyard 400. He's building a huge lead over second place Jeff Gordon. Beautiful look look at downtown Indianapolis from over the top of the Speedway. Welcome back to the Brickyard 400 telecast presented by Golden Corral. Check out NASCAR.com/RaceBuddy to watch coverage live today from Indianapolis. Follow your favorite drivers for free with 8 live camera views. Log on to NASCAR.com/RaceBuddy. Green flag pit stop for Kurt Busch, Doc.
4 tires, air pressure, left rear, top it off with Sunoco. Now these guys can make it on 2 more stops. That's all they'll need.
Kurt Busch pitting from 8th position just seconds ago.
We're a little bit slow on the left front, and I'm not sure they got all the lug nuts on that car. We'll see.
They are going to bring him back down pit road because I don't believe NASCAR thinks he got all the lug nuts on that as well.
Got something right today.
Oh, please. There's your gap, first to second. I've been impressed with Jeff Gordon on the drive in this 24. We talked on NASCAR Countdown when Ray had his conversation with Jeff about the season so far and being winless. They have come close and things just haven't fallen their way. And if he's going to make a bid at trying to win that 5th championship, he might just need to win a 5th Brickyard 400 today. He's got a good car.
Yeah, and it was easy to say coming in here because of how they performed last year and how they he's won 4 times here, but they still got to go out and get it done. Dave?
Jamie McMurray in the 1 car. He complained recently that it was a little bit tight in the middle toward the exit of the corner as well. So they'll make an air pressure adjustment for Jamie. Remember, he's been a little off sequence all day. Lap 70 seemed to be about the threshold for this situation, like Kurt Busch was trying to do as well.
All of the leaders pitted at lap 42. Some others pitted at lap 48. So this string of pit stops could carry on for a little while. Here's Sam Hornish in, Doc.
Sam Hornish complaining the car being a little bit loose in, loose off, tight in the center, air pressure adjustment. Sam hoping to be able to be impressive today as he was yesterday, finishing 2nd in the NASCAR Nationwide Series car. Of course, the former Indy 500 champion. They cleaned the grill. Hoping to be able to get Sam down and away here in less than 16 seconds.
Okay, Doc, thanks. And while this cycle of pit stops goes on, Jeff Gordon is closing and closing quickly on Jimmy Johnson.
Catching him a couple tenths a lap right now.
Look at that. Reeling him in.
Yeah, and you can kind of see how Jeff is right down at the bottom. He's not actually getting all the way to the wall, having to use up the whole racetrack.
Big rush on the pit road. Sorry, DJ.
18-car Kyle Busch will hit pit road right now. Kyle, during this run, says, I need help entry to center. That means it was a little bit too loose. That means a little bit of air pressure out of the right rear tire. That should be the only adjustment for Kyle on this stop. 4 tires in Sunoco fuel. His teammate, Denny Hamlin, comes down pit road as well right now. Denny, for this run, has been pretty good, other than the fact that he's been back in the traffic. So they're going to take on 4 here with a slight air pressure adjustment and 4 tires. Vince?
The 48 of Jimmy Johnson has been the dominant car today. He's coming to his pit box, and crew chief Chad Knaus asked him, don't get too tight to the wall. They're making a 4-tire change, and on that first stop, he got a little snug, and it was difficult for the tire changers. No chassis adjustment here, just 4 fresh tires and Sunoco fuel for Jimmy Johnson. He likes his race car, but he said the right rear was giving up a bit late in that run. Dave?
Greg Biffle is in now. He said his car was just a little bit free, so they'll make an air pressure adjustment for him. 4 tires for Biffle. Joey Logano went as well. He says, I have no grip in my race car, and I have to wait on the throttle. So they'll make a 4-tire change for Joey.
And as you saw on the right side of the screen, Jeff Gordon giving up the lead. He's coming to pit road.
As you guys might imagine, Jeff Gordon real happy with his race car right now. No adjustments expected on the 24 car. Just 4 tires and Sunoco race fuel. Jeff Gordon real happy with that race machine right now. Dave?
Matt Kenseth is in now. They were planning on possibly doing an adjustment to the left front where they would take a shim out to help his car into the center of the corner. He said, it's hard to drive right now. It's so loose, I can't get into the center of the corner. So we'll see if they take some extra time right now, possibly a spring rubber out instead. And as they go to the left front, we'll see what happens when they pull the tire off. Yes, he's going going to go in. Tire back on. Vince.
The 42 of Juan Pablo Montoya. He's been second here before. Twice he's led the most laps, but this year he can't catch a break. Right now he says he's lost all stability. Air pressure adjustment, wedge out. They added some tape. 4 tires and Sunoco fuel to try to get that car better for Juan Pablo.
Still to pit, Eric Almirola, Bobby Labonte, Landon Castle, and David Gilliland as we watch the pit stop cycle through. I'm looking to see how Jimmy Johnson and Brad Keselowski cycle out against each other after this exchange of strategies.
Yeah, Keselowski's going to have a lead over Jimmy Johnson when it does cycle through, but here comes Almirola. Coming to you, Vince.
Well, Eric Almirola started 4th, but as crew chief Mike Ford said, we haven't had much chance to work on the race car because he has no experience here, so he just had to get laps, laps, laps. Now Eric says it's tight, tight, tight. They're going to make a chassis adjustment, air pressure adjustment as well to go with those 4 Goodyear tires and Sunoco fuel.
So Almirola away. Bobby Labonte, the new leader. Remember, we had that spread with the 2 quick cautions where some guys pitted, Almirola among them on that second of the cautions. And that's why this run of green flag pit stops is so strung out, if you will. Armstrong, our over-the-wall reporter, changing front tires for Stephen Light on that 33 car today. Landon Castle, David Gilliland, the last 2 to come to pit road under this cycle. And then you're going to get back to Brad Keselowski ahead of Jimmy Johnson.
He's about 3 seconds ahead of Jimmy Johnson right now.
We'll see that gap closing because Jimmy just got fresh tires and Brad's been out there a while, but I'll tell you, the 2 cars are pretty strong. It's going to be really kind of interesting to see how they are going to fare against each other on equal territory, on equal ground with equal tires.
Castle has pitted. Keselowski has gone to the lead. And we're just shy of the halfway point in the Brickyard 400. Telecast presented by Golden Corral. Let's take an inside look and get unlimited access to the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series. Brought to you by the NASCAR Sprint Cup mobile app and truly unlimited data on the Sprint network. Fastest 4-tire pit stop so far today. The crew of the guy that's leading this race, Brad Keselowski, down in the 12
seconds. Those boys get it done.
Get unlimited access to NASCAR with live in-car audio and real-time stats on the NASCAR Sprint Cup mobile Android app. Only from Sprint, the only network with truly unlimited data. Learn more at sprint.com/speed. The plot thickens as we come to halfway in the Brickyard 400. A little strategy play. Teams on opposing pit stop schedules. And Brad Keselowski's gone from trailing Jimmy Johnson before this exchange of stops to leading him.
Yeah, it is. It's going to play out kind of different than you might think because you've got this strategy going on. You've got Jeff Gordon with a fast car in a long run that's able to catch Jimmy Johnson. So which one's going to win out? Which strategy is going to win out? And who's got the best car?
You better not forget that 24 car.
I'm telling you, he is fast. Mainly, like you said, Alan, he looks like he's got a great long-run car, but he's able to maintain on new tires. That's what he's doing right now with Jimmy. Actually beat Jimmy a little bit that lap. Both of these cars are going to overtake Keselowski at this point. But as this thing keeps cycling through, you'll see how the strategy plays out.
Looking here at Denny Hamlin, who, after that one restart where he got down in and the car just wouldn't turn, and in turn 1 fell outside of the top 10, is still back there outside the top 10 right now. He's moved up to 12th, but just shows you how difficult. As fast a car as what Denny Hamlin has, led a lot of the first part of this race, just hasn't gotten back inside the top 10. Dave, what are they saying about Denny's car?
I'll tell you what they're saying, and then I have a question for you, DJ, as a former driver here and winner. Right now, it was tight before the pit stop. They made an adjustment. It is still tight, and the question is, mentally, when you get back in traffic, when you had all that clean air earlier, mentally, can the car sort of tighten on you?
Yeah, and you'll create some problems tightening too, but besides the aero tight that you're going to get, you start overdriving the car to try to make up for everything that happened.
I can tell you, though, too, it's real. That the farther you get back in the running order, the tighter the car gets. The more traffic you're in, the more disturbed the air is, and all the crew chiefs will tell you, if they're going to set their car up to run from the back of the pack up, they've got to have the car freer.
This is 10th, 11th, and 12th here. Paul Menard, Casey Kane, and Denny Hamlin. Tony Stewart, the two-time winner, all the way back in 24th position. After that pit stop under green just a couple of laps ago for Tony, well, it didn't go so well.
Your drive off of 1 is better than a 48. Good.
Got to say, that was a great recovery. Yeah. You can see the tire changer got tripped up by that tire going back to the wall. Made a nice recovery to get his job done.
Up front, getting closer. You said, Andy, that on the fresher tires, Johnson would run down Keselowski.
Yeah, it's not going to worry Paul Wolf one bit. He knows what his strategy is, and this is part of it. I'm actually surprised that Keselowski is able to stay as fast as he is against the cars with better tires.
Yeah, I think the only thing is what we saw is when Keselowski went back out there on those new tires, he was quite a bit faster than Jimmy Johnson and Jeff Gordon, but they fell off rather quickly, and we're seeing these times equal out quite a bit here now. We'll see if Jimmy Johnson gets a little bit of an aero push here.
27 to flats behind you, scale of 1 to 10 on your fuel conserving. 1.
That means I've got the pedal to the metal. Doc?
You guys are right on the money with what Paul Wolf is telling that guy right there, Brad Keselowski. He's telling him, you know what, don't worry about the 48 and 24. They got fresher tires. They're faster than you, but here's the good news. Everybody behind those two is slower than you are. You got older tires. We're in good shape. Use all the fuel you want. They're planning on pitting around lap 94 or 95, and that will mean one more stop to the checkered flag after that, guys.
I'll have to say the competition has been mighty cordial today. It was nice, but he still held me up pretty bad.
Jimmy Johnson radio there.
Yeah, competition cordial. I don't know. He's talking about on track and people helping him out. That'll change here as we get closer to the end of this race, I promise.
I don't know if he was being sarcastic or not.
Johnson in second, Vince.
Chad Canal said before the race, the challenge here at Indianapolis is to keep the car turning consistently all day. It's been really good for the 48 so far, but Jimmy just radioed in and said, I'm a little more free in and off than I have been before, but it's still pretty good, as you can see.
Pretty good, I'd say. And 12 laps difference between the two pit stop schedules. It was lap 60 when Keselowski pitted and 72 when Johnson came down pit road.
Take a look at these speeds at the line, see who's getting the most out of their car. Looks like that lap by Keselowski so far the fastest.
White and black car coming at you is Kurt Busch. He did come back down the pit lane to have those lug nuts replaced that were missing from the green flag pit stop. Unfortunately for Kurt, that has left him a lap down in 31st place. 15 Indianapolis 500 wins for the captain, Roger Penske. Never won a stock car race here until yesterday when Brad Keselowski drove into victory lane, trying to get a Brickyard 400 win today.
88 complete at the Brickyard 400. If you're just joining us, the 5-hour energy rapid recap will get us caught up. Carl Edwards not having a good day. Started second, but he's 4 laps down in 35th.
Oh, man, just having a terrible day. Something wrong with the engine. It must be electronics or something. He's 4 laps down, like you said. Brand new crew chief trying to turn his year around, and it's getting worse right here at Indy.
Yeah, we saw Denny Hamlin out early. Track position is absolutely a key. Led a majority of laps early, 26 and 27. On that restart, went back to 15th and hasn't been able to work his way back up through traffic.
That's the pole sitter. Not the pole sitter. Dale Earnhardt Jr. started 20th, but looking good now.
Yeah, and Junebug is moving forward. Looks really good. Yeah, Junebug. And little tidbit, the only father and son combination ever to win here was
Unser.
Right.
And Jeff Gordon chasing the 5th win here right now in 3rd with some impressive speed.
Jeff's been really, really fast. He and his teammate Jimmy Johnson are 2 fastest cars on the racetrack. Keep going and going.
Currently out front, Brad Keselowski in the 2 for the captain, Roger Penske. Never won a Brickyard 400, but so successful here in the Indianapolis 500. Rusty before in countdown. Oh, and here he comes down pit road. On a different pit strategy than the 48. Doc, coming your way.
Brad Keselowski saying I'm a little free on exit, but I want a very, very small adjustment. They were warning Brad, do not speed on pit road, no penalties. Got a great race car. Going to change 4 tires. They've got to get it full of fuel. It will make one more stop around lap 130. Left front going on, left rear going on. They had a 12.5-second stop last time. Little issue with the left rear, but they're down and away. Alan?
All right, Doc, thanks. I was looking at my numbers, and I just said to Andy and DJ, 2 cars got to be coming in shortly because he pitted at lap 60. That was a 30-lap run. Jimmy Johnson pitted at 72. You see, we're on 91 now, so he's another 10, 11 laps away from another visit to pit road.
Yeah, I think this strategy is working out really well for them, and I think it's better than they even anticipated. I'm sure they didn't think they would keep the lead through this cycle. They did, and now they make that up, this stop, and they'll keep the car on the lead lap. And I got to think some of the other teams are trying to, or at least paying attention to what's going on here, maybe learning something.
Only going 30 laps there, though. A little curious that now they're going to have to go 35.
Well, they can go farther than you think. I talked to those guys down there. They wouldn't tell me exactly what kind of mileage they're getting, but they get good mileage. Yet they haven't played that hand yet.
You heard Brad say on that 1 to 10 fuel-saving scale, he was at a 1. Wonder if that'll change here while he waits out the Jimmy Johnson pit stop. Of course, Brad, a big user of Twitter, and the folks in the pit studio are at it as well today at NASCAR ESPN with the hashtag pit studio if you want to be part of the conversation. I'll resist using the line about asking Brad what he's eaten during the race. But I can tell you if you ask Brad about Junebug, he's got something to say. Dale Earnhardt Jr. has been one of the movers in this race. The big drivers and the big teams shine on the sport's big stage. So true here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. The 5-time champ Jimmy Johnson and the 4-time champ Jeff Gordon with 7 Indy wins between them. Hey, there's that DJ guy. At the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, the Brickyard 400, telecast presented by Golden Corral, is under caution for just the 3rd time in the race. Casey Mears with that damage on the right side of his 13 car.
Yeah, you can see somehow he had a problem getting through the corner. Don't know what it was. Doesn't really look like a blown tire. It looked like he had some kind of problem, though, and got out of the groove up against the wall.
Running in 30th place at the time, and you see that Casey has taken that car back behind the wall.
I don't know if something happened to the engine or something. They're losing fluid somehow. But he lost traction getting through that corner.
Here come the leaders to pit road. Stops with 65 laps to go, Mike.
Yep, and a couple of concerns for Jeff Gordon and the 24 team. The car's running a little bit hot. Expect them to clean the grill thoroughly. Also, he said the car's a bit tight, so they're going to make a track bar adjustment. They're going to go up a half round. Also expect a 4-tire change in the 24 car and a full load of Sunoco race fuel, Vince.
For Jimmy Johnson, they're still working on the balance of the car. They're going to make a track bar adjustment up 1 round, 4 tires for Jimmy Johnson. Dave.
Kyle Busch said his car is free all the way through the corner. They want to go back on an air adjustment they made the previous stop. As for Greg Biffle, running in the 3rd position, Biffle says, I need forward drive. I'm loose on the gas. They'll make a wedge adjustment. 4 tires. There goes the wedge adjustment. Biffle's out of here.
Saw a little strategy. Fuel only for the 78 of Regan Smith. Team that finished 3rd last year by playing their strategy for track position just right. And speaking of strategy, Brad Keselowski is going to be the leader. Busy time on the pit lane as we're under caution for the 3rd time at the Brickyard. A warm 86-degree afternoon at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway as we come up on the 250-mile mark of today's Brickyard 400. Make sure to go to NASCAR.com for all your latest NASCAR information. Working the 3rd caution of this race that came out after Casey Mears had trouble and caught the wall in turn number 2. Tony Stewart, our in-race reporter for the day, is back in 23rd, DJ.
Hey, Tony, Dale Jarrett, you have a copy?
Yeah, bud.
Hey, man, looks like your day's going kind of like mine started when I couldn't even get your crew chief's name right. But what are you and Steve doing to make this car better for you?
A lot of praying right now. It's a lot better than it was yesterday. I mean, we didn't have a very good day yesterday, obviously, and I'm proud of Steve and Zippy and everybody working as hard as they did last night. It's a much better race car than we had last night, but it's just kind of hard to get there from where we were yesterday, so we'll keep plugging away at it.
Hey, Tony, the difficulty with these cars in traffic, how much more difficult is it in trying to make these passes?
When your car's balanced, you can get through there pretty good still. It's just you know, if you're a little bit off at this place, it's hard to do the things that you need to do to get through traffic. So we're really having to catch guys off guard to gain spots here, but we got a long way to go here still, so we haven't given up on this thing yet.
All right, we know that you won't. Good luck, buddy.
Thanks, bud.
A little bit of cleanup going on around the speedway, extending the caution flag. Juan Pablo Montoya has been on pit road a couple of times under the yellow. And Vince, did I see the hood up on that car?
It was up. They're trying everything. They're working on all four corners of that shim, spring rubbers, you name it. They're working on it, trying to change it. That's how much of a handful it's been for Juan Pablo Montoya today. He says this thing is all over the place. So they said, let's bring it in. We'll make big swings at it, try to make wholesale changes and see if we can give you something to work with. He's still on the lead lap, but deep in the field at 26th.
All right, Vince, thanks. Not the day the former Formula One driver was hoping for here at the Brickyard. Speaking of Formula One, tonight the ESPN original documentary series returns with a great account of Brazilian Formula One sensation Ayrton Senna that follows his struggles on and off the track and his rise to global fame and ultimately his tragic end. An ESPN original documentary, Senna, tonight at 10 on ESPN2. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it if you're a race fan. Going racing in one more lap. You see some wave arounds going past the pace car. Cars that did not pit under the yellow were between the leader and the pace car, and so they get to pass the pace car before the restart.
One of those was Kurt Busch.
Yeah. Kurt Busch, David Stremme, David Reagan, and David Gilliland all come back around to the lead lap. The free pass car was Landon Castle. It gives us now 32 cars on the lead lap at 250 miles. We're doubled up for the restart, spotted some more debris. Going to wave off the restart, make sure the track is clean and ready for green. Brad Keselowski leads. We'll come back for that restart.
Back at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, where Regan Smith's race car carries the names of those lost in Aurora, Colorado recently. He's racing for a cause, but he's also racing to win with a brand new crew chief. So the crew chief making the conservative call here, the new guy, huh, Todd?
Yeah, you know, it's been always about track position. I'm just trying to get the thing up front here and see what plays out. You know, we make it on one more stop from here to the end, and so just trying to see. We lost a little track position the last time, making a big adjustment under green, so I figured we need to get it back somehow.
Thanks. Good on fuel. The racing is left in Regan's hands.
And Dave, updating, they took right side tires on the pit stop, right? Not just fuel. Keselowski loose under Smith. Johnson goes by him, side by side with Smith for the lead.
Gather back up.
See Kyle Busch make a huge move, too, to get all the way to third.
A frantic first lap after the restart. Jimmy Johnson to the lead. Kyle Busch to second. Jeff Gordon to third. And remember earlier in the race when Denny Hamlin had a slide on a restart when he was contending for the lead. It's taken him a long time to get back into contention.
Yeah, but he's there now, Alan, and I think starting 9th on the inside, as you pointed out earlier on this restart, was a big help there.
And Brad Keselowski 1st to 7th, and all that strategy played to gain that track position.
I think he might have overestimated the amount of grip he had in those tires that had 5 extra laps on them.
Well, besides being that, he had a car on his outside, which automatically takes air off of your spoiler too. So watch Brad.
Corner, stand corner, back to you, outside even. Outside even, he's by himself, 48th off you. Outside, inside, clear high, inside, coming hard, inside,
wow.
inside.
I was going to say, at first, it was amazing that he didn't panic, but then he got into a kind of a panic.
It looks like he was panicking.
Yeah.
78 car, Regan Smith, obviously struggling, having just the fresh right side tires. Restarted 2nd. He's all the way back to 8th.
Well, that's the thing. He had right side tires. The 2 car did not pit there. He had pitted earlier. He had about 5 laps on his tires when they made that stop, when the other leaders made their stop.
There's last year's winner, Paul Menard, showing up inside the top 10 here.
Yeah. When I saw NASCAR Countdown earlier, you heard the conversation. Paul and his father, John, talking about what that win meant to their family, what this speedway has meant to their family. And oh, by the way, no give from Paul. He said, I want another.
Casey Kane there was losing the spot. He's really struggling more than I anticipated. I thought once he got into the top 10, he was marching towards getting up towards that top 5, but that's not the case here. He's sliding back even more. Lost a couple of spots right there.
Kane in the 5. It's all the way back to 16th, DJ.
Just really thought with the speed we saw in practice and what they've been doing, here comes a couple of guys in Ryan Newman and Mark Martin trying to work their way into the top 10.
Todd Berrier, crew chief for Regan Smith, said he had to do something to try and get his track position. Well, they've pretty much given up everything they gained.
And losing more.
Yeah. Wasn't Kevin Harvick in that 29 car? Didn't we hear him on the radio a couple times early in this race? Really not happy with its handling. And there he is.
It sounds like Shane was listening. His crew chief was listening to the comments.
He's working it, trying to get back into the top 10.
Back there, Tony Stewart making a pass on Jeff Burton, trying to get himself moving forward. Said they'd made some changes.
This 29 car better, Doc, or are circumstances just falling in his favor?
Actually, the car is better. Shane Wilson has changed everything but the number on this car. They have done everything they can think of. Shock, wedge adjustment, track bar, air pressure, rubber in, rubber out. And the car was very, very tight and snappy loose. But now the car is just a little bit loose on entry and exit, but rolls the center much better. And it's evidenced by the fact that now Kevin Harvick can drive it and sniffing the top 10 for the first time today. Dave Burns.
For those wondering about the 5 car today of Casey Kane, it might be because he was fastest in one practice, 4th fastest in another. But Kenny Francis, his crew chief, when I talked to him this morning, said, I don't know about today. We had a horrible practice. And remember, I said he was 1st and 4th. Sometimes a crew chief just knows when the car is giving him some indications in that direction. So for Casey, some right front damage that he received on pit road may be part of the problem. They pulled on that right front fender the last time he was down pit road, but it's not handling up to spec right now.
Doesn't take much to throw it off. I don't see it. It doesn't look like it's that bad, but it wouldn't take much to really make the car tight.
Up front, 2nd position has changed hands. Jimmy Johnson has the lead after the big restart scramble where Brad Keselowski was sideways off turn 2. Kyle Busch now 2nd, having passed Jeff Gordon a little bit ago, Mike.
Yeah, and Jeff Gordon's handling isn't a problem. Right now, though, he needs to get that car in as much clean air as he possibly can to bring the temperatures down. It's been a concern throughout the course of the day and still is.
We got temp issues again. See what happens here. 10-4. A lot of grass on the grill. A lot of grass on the grill.
He just radioed in temps, and his oil temp is just beyond 240. Alan Gustafson said, tell me when it gets close to 300. That's our max.
Yeah, 240 I wouldn't worry too much about, but I figured this grass would be an issue before the day is over.
Not with us earlier, Andy talked about cars going so low in the corners that they clip that grass and throw some of the shavings, if you will, up into that grill opening of the car behind it.
Yeah, it does that. It gets on the track, and it's not like you can just go dodge it as you're running around out there. So it does create a huge issue for these drivers and teams.
Especially these crazy restarts where they go everywhere and start getting on the grass, and there's no way you can avoid it.
Gordon in third, Hamlin back to fourth, Biffle fifth, Keselowski to sixth, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. running in seventh. Jr. started back in 20th. You see he's run as high as fourth, Vince. What's the latest on the 88?
Right now he just says it's a little bit too tight. You know, in his last pit stop, he said, snug me up a little, but not too much, because when I'm in traffic, it's just too tight. Steve Letarte encouraging Junior, telling him, hang in there, it's going to free up the longer you run. Junior's waiting on it.
Talked about the move that Dale Jr. has made so far in the race. Our Goodyear Superior performer today. Driver of the 88. Been a good drive so far, but not good enough to get to the front. Still the lead left today. 52 to go in Indianapolis. Jimmy Johnson leads.
Let's take an inside look and get unlimited access to the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series, brought to you by the NASCAR Sprint Cup mobile app and truly unlimited data on the Sprint network. There have been 13 lead changes today, currently out front. The 48 and Jimmy Johnson get unlimited access to NASCAR with live in-car audio and real-time stats on NASCAR Sprint Cup mobile Android app only from Sprint, the only network with truly unlimited data. Learn more at sprint.com/speed. Jimmy Johnson currently out front by 3.5 seconds, Rusty.
I tell you what, I know I've said it before, Nicole, but I am so impressed with the preparation of this 48 car for this particular race. It's unreal. This car's been, it's been about a 5-month plan for this particular race for this car. Car ran at Dover, Delaware. I mentioned earlier how they took it back in the shop and massaged on it just for this particular event, and how much confidence Jimmy Johnson's got in this particular car. And he's told his crew chief, Chad Knaus, right there, I want this car. I'm happy with it. And because of that preparation, it's really paying off right now, guys.
And I'm keeping a close eye on the 18 car, guys. Kyle Busch got back on the pit stop there when the thing dropped off on fuel, and he's driven that car back up into position. No trick strategy, no things like that. He's been quiet. He's not been on the radio upset. He's driven that car back into position. He and his teammate, Denny Hamlin, have both had problems and have driven back up. Whether they'll be strong enough to challenge the Hendrick cars, I don't know, but I'm impressed with that drive.
Earlier in the race, he lost 10 spots, but on that restart, he went from 7th to 2nd.
The guy I'm keeping an eye on has been Martin Truex Jr. He has been in that 6th, 7th, 8th position all day long, just plodding along, maintaining a good platform with that race car. As you see, Rusty, he's got that bail up really low, split it really low. I know you like that. I think Martin Truex could be putting himself in a good position after this last pit stop, maybe to challenge that 48, just maybe.
I'll tell you what, talk about position right now. It's getting late enough in the race now. Somebody's got to make some strategic call to make something happen right here.
Got to take a chance, don't you?
Somebody's got to take a chance. Pretty soon, somebody's going to do something different here.
That would be Chad Knaus, the crew chief for Jimmy Johnson, currently out front. We are 114 laps complete at the Brickyard, 46 to go. Can Chad Knaus get his driver a 5th win at Indy? We'll find out coming up.
About to mark 300 miles of the Brickyard 400 at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, with Jimmy Johnson, the 5-time champ and 3-time Indy winner, out in front by 3.4 seconds over his teammate, Jeff Gordon.
Coming off turn 4, the final time, knowing that whoever's around you can't pass you, and the adrenaline starts to kick. You can see the grandstands come to life. flash bulbs popping, look up and see the checkered flag waving. There's nothing better.
Dale, you know what that feeling's like, coming to the checkered flag at Indy, knowing a win here is going to be yours.
Yeah, I was thinking just as Jimmy was talking, kind of flashing back myself to what that's like. And it is just a tremendous feeling of accomplishment for yourself, for your race team, and just how much it changes your life and, you know, having that on your resume.
Yeah, and for the teammates, you can see the 7 times Hendrick Motorsports has seen that happen. And when you stand up on the wall, the same feeling. It's exactly the same. You know, when you can see that checker flag, you see your car coming, nobody's going to be able to pass you. It is really, really a great feeling.
4 of the last 8 at Indy for the Hendrick Motorsports team. They're running 1-2 right now. Joe Gibbs Racing is running 3rd and 4th. Kyle Busch 3rd. And Denny Hamlin runs in the 4th position. The AT&T Fastest Driver Challenge of the top 4 qualifiers. Denny Hamlin leading the pack. Remember to text FAST to 34763 to play AT&T's Fastest Driver Challenge, or visit AT&TFastestDriver.com. You could have a chance to win 4 Gs just by playing. Nice recovery for Denny Hamlin today. Remember, he was one of the contenders for the lead. On an early restart, he slipped in turn 1, fell from 3rd to 14th at the time, and has worked his way back up into the top 5. And it wasn't all that long ago that Kyle Busch was in front of Jeff Gordon for 2nd spot. Now you see how far he's fallen back off of Gordon's back bumper. 3 seconds he's lost to 2nd place, Dave.
Alan, he radioed his crew and gave him an idea of why.
Definitely struggling on exit, just being able to keep the car turning and throttle up. I can't do either. Okay, 10-4, I'll work on it for you.
The working on it is going to be a track bar down and air pressure back where they had it before. And Kyle lately has had such terrible luck. The last 7 races, only 1 top 10, dropped from 9th to 13th in the points. And with only 1 win this year, he's not the top wild card candidate. Dave Rogers said a win here would be big for that reason and because of our short track program, which DJ mentioned at the top of the show. You see Greg Biffle passing Denny Hamlin.
That'll be 4th place there, Dave. And moving into the picture behind them is Brad Keselowski running in 6th. Remember, Brad was the leader at the last restart. Had Regan Smith to his outside in turn 2. The car slipped. He went back to 7th. And now, Doc, that kind of all that strategy that the 2 team had used to get themselves in position for it, now they got to figure out another plan.
Indeed they do, Alan. They're about 10.5 seconds behind Jimmy Johnson, the leader, and that presents a problem. If you pit now, you got to have a great pit stop. You do not want to lose a lap on pit road in case the yellow would come out. They actually can go to lap 130, but their window is going to open up here in about 2 laps. Paul Wolfe is going to have a decision to make very soon.
Yeah, I mean, if his window's going to open up, so that means he can go ahead and pit. I think he said it earlier. I heard he could maybe pit now at 122. Might want to run a couple more laps just to hedge that bet for a green-white checker possibly and just make sure they have enough fuel.
The window will open for green flag pit stop shortly. We'll take a break, come back, get you ready for it. The Brickyard 400 being led by Jimmy Johnson. We're under the yellow flag at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Jeff Burton has had some problems. The left front down on that 31 car, and then in driving it back around to the pit area, further damage.
It doesn't look too bad right here. It looks like he just lost left front, going to get into the pits, but it's done some more damage. Going to have to spend some time repairing that.
He was in 16th place at the time. And so as Burton rolls back out, the leaders have come by pit road opening behind the pace car once already, and the pit road was closed for NASCAR to check if this 31 car was leaving debris and fluid behind it on its way in. The pit road is going to be open this time, and at the timing of the caution flag, all of us looked at each other and said, okay, here we go with that fuel thing, and that 1 extra lap of the pit road being closed might make a difference.
It could be big because at 30, it was 35 to go. The last time I'll be 34 this time. That 1 lap could make a big difference in who makes it, who doesn't.
Yeah, it's going to be huge, and you know, time they go back, get the track cleaned up because there was debris on the track also. They're going to have just over 30 laps, so probably still see a few of them shutting it off under this caution, but they should be able to make it.
Now's not the time to make a mistake on pit road, driver or team. You've worked all day for track position for these leaders up front. It's getting close to time to settle this race.
That's it right here. That's what you live for.
Stops will be with 34 laps to go. Johnson Gordon, Kyle Busch, Greg Biffle, Denny Hamlin, Brad Keselowski, your top 6. Doc?
Brad Case says he wants 4 tires. Paul Wolf was thinking about rolling the dice and putting on 2 for track position to get him clean air. Got to get it full of fuel. Still going to be very close on fuel. Right side tires only are going to do 4. Mike Massaro.
Jeff Gordon saying the only way he's going to get by the 48 is if they make him freer. They're going to make a track bar adjustment, 4 tires of fuel.
Jimmy Johnson says he needs it to be a little more snug off that 4-tire change and around down to the left rear. Dave?
Kyle Busch will give up 3rd to take 4 and 2 cans of gas. They've made a track bar adjustment, air pressure adjustment. He leaves pit road.
Watch that contest off the pit lane.
2 tires for Biffle.
And Jeff Gordon.
Somebody willing to roll the dice.
Lost 4 positions. 34 laps to go at Indianapolis. Greg Biffle first off the pit lane. How's it going to shake out?
Brickyard 400 is presented by Golden Corral. Help yourself to happiness. And in part by Goodyear, chosen for superior performance. Goodyear, more driven. And Chevrolet, and their award-winning cars, trucks, and crossovers.
Down to the final 32 laps at Indianapolis to win the 2012 running of the Brickyard 400. Our telecast today presented by Golden Corral. Round of pit stops has just shuffled up the running order. Greg Biffle was first off the pit lane. Matt Pusha, the crew chief, making a little strategy call, Andy.
2 tires. I'm not sure it's going to work for him. He's going to get track position, though. He's going to have the lead on the restart. Well, Dave, what's Matt Pusha thinking? How's this going to work?
He made that call, Andy, so I thought you were going to talk to Greg there for a minute. I'm not so worried about the fuel, but I want to know, how about running on 2 tires? Others haven't had such good success.
You know, we were in our fastest laps earlier when we took 2 tires. The car was the best it was. You know, we were kind of hovering right up there around 4th or 5th. You know, we got 30 laps to go here. We go back to green, so, you know, we weren't here to run 4th or 5th, so see if we get some track position, see if it makes a little bit of difference, and see what we got.
Perhaps Greg will have better luck than some of the other guys, Andy.
Well, just the fact that he's got the data in front of him and says that they ran their best run on 2 tires.
Yeah, he was going off of that. I thought maybe they made it anticipating others changing just 2 tires.
What's going on there in the double up order? I think some guys shutting the cars off to try and save some fuel, and maybe somebody didn't get refired and it accordion things up. Jeff Gordon lost some spots on the pit road also.
Stop wasn't a disaster. Just a little bit off of some of the leaders.
Hit 7 on the front there.
Yeah, there's only 5 lug nuts on that right front, but he hits them a few extra times.
And working that fuel can on the back to make sure they've got it completely full.
Split second on the fuel, but not a long time. Still enough to cost him quite a few spots.
So Gordon back to 6th for the restart.
You can see even comparing to Johnson, he's only a 1.5 seconds off. These days, that's a lot.
Yeah, I'd say the worst thing is that put him in 6th spot, which is on that outside. That could be the worst thing for him here.
Yeah. Inside lane will be Biffle, Kyle Busch, Earnhardt Jr., Ryan Newman. Outside lane will be Jimmy Johnson, Denny Hamlin, Jeff Gordon, Mark Martin. Be 31 laps to go in a race that always features a late twist and plot. Are we set up for that right now? Johnson and Kyle Busch.
was a great recovery by Jimmy Johnson.
You see Kyle Busch having to block now. He knows that could cost him some spot from these guys coming from behind. He's blocking Earnhardt Jr. You can tell just how much Kyle Busch knew getting in front of Jimmy Johnson was going to give him a shot at winning this race. He was doing everything he could.
Jeff Gordon trying to get some spots back, but he's got Mark Martin to his inside, Paul Menard to his outside. 3 wide, headed for turn 1.
Wow, Gordon drove his car way in there.
He drove that car in that corner.
Kevin Harvick jumping to the inside of Keselowski. After Brad had to be careful under Paul Menard. Matt Kenseth, Tony Stewart clunking doors in the middle of the straightaway.
This could become a problem right here.
And here comes Sam Hornish in the 22.
Tony Stewart was determined he wasn't giving that up. Here comes Jimmy Johnson.
And there he goes. Judging by Biffle being on the inside as Johnson went by, I say that was okay, go on.
There's no sense fighting it. I mean, if he's got you, there's no reason to run side by side and let the rest of these guys catch up.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Biffle was saying he'll take this second spot and see what I can do with it.
Look at this.
Chance he's going to get another chance at a restart here the way all this is going.
How about Clint Boyer in that 15? He had a crash earlier.
Nice job so far, and getting him back up here. You see where they repaired that left rear.
He's in 15th spot. Trevor Bayne with Regan Smith up under the back bumper, 78-21.
Well, Matt Kenseth really struggling back there.
It looked like Matt Kenseth and Tony Stewart made contact when they were side by side on the back straightaway. I'm not sure that didn't hurt Matt's car.
Oh, Joey Logano in trouble. Turn 1. And here we go.
In the wall, guys, in the wall.
Matt Kenseth just talked about how he was struggling in some of the heavy racing since the restart. And now the NASCAR Sprint Cup Championship leaders got fire coming from under his car. Fortunately, Matt's out. Joey Logano had been up in the top 5 earlier and lost a pile of positions on a pit stop that set him back in the pack a couple of stops ago.
Got a lot more problems than that now.
You're right. There was going to be another restart. Almost inevitable. Everybody was pushing and shoving there.
It's just that time. You're trying to get everything that you can. One of your biggest races of the year.
Well, Matt's certainly not happy, and who can blame him?
Yeah, I know. That's a tough end.
Yeah, I don't know if you had a tire going down. You talked about that contact between he and Tony Stewart, or if it just maybe pushed a fender in, and then that got him back in more traffic, and that certainly may have been even more the issue. See, Logano just got down in there, tried to get it really low, got loose, and the problem started more from there.
It looked like Kenseth had the right line to avoid it. Then when Bobby Labonte made contact with Logano, it pushed him back up the track. Nowhere to go for Matt.
See, Matt could have continued on, but he saw this fire. He just spins it out, trying to help put some of that out and get near. See, once again, Logano's doing his best to hang on right here.
It looks like Matt's going to make it by. Up across the track comes Logano.
That was a race for 21st position.
All that fire coming out of the left front is probably from an oil cooler or oil line rupture.
Here's how far back Matt had gotten, because he had been up there with Tony Stewart racing for around the 13th, 14th spot at that time.
Yeah, he was 13th on the restart. Now he's racing for 21st, and now he's wrecked.
Who the point leader is. As they run, Dale Earnhardt Jr.
How about that? 2004. And of course, Junior trying to tie Jeff Gordon's record for most consecutive lead lap finishes. He'll do that if he gets one today.
He's going to be able to start on the inside in that third row. That's a good thing.
Yeah, when you get fortunate things happening like that, you've got good cars, then that helps you have records like that. Junior's done a terrific job driving this race car all year long, doing the things that it takes to win a championship.
So while we're under caution, I talked about the late twisted plot. Certainly this crash, part of that. Another trend here at Indianapolis, the guy that leads most of this race a lot of times doesn't win. I know you've been on both ends of that scale before, DJ.
Yeah. Well, it's going to take somebody doing something pretty spectacular or getting into the back of Jimmy Johnson or something like that. They're going to have to catch him to do anything like that.
Yep.
Kyle Busch made a run at him on that last restart, got him loose, and he did a great job to save it and just take off with the lead.
Now, for you Jimmy Johnson fans, before I start getting all those bad thoughts, Jimmy was the last guy to win here after leading the most laps. That was 2007.
So he has already bucked the trend.
He can. I'm just presenting the facts as they are. The guy that leads the most laps doesn't win this race a lot of years. And the last lead change of this race happens very late in it, too.
Yeah, and I think Greg Biffle's two-tire deal will work better now that everybody has some laps on their tires. You can see Greg really trying to keep his cleaned off for this restart. I believe they won't be as much of a factor now.
He will have the outside lane on the restart, though.
That's going to be the bigger factor. And Kyle Busch on the inside wanting to go somewhere.
Kyle Busch and Dale Jr. So while we clean up from the caution, the pit lane remains closed. Let's take a minute to remind you that tonight at 7 Eastern time, our ESPN Motorsports coverage continues with the NHRA Sonoma Nationals Finals. 7 Eastern ESPN2. And then next week in our NASCAR coverage, a split city doubleheader, if you will. Iowa Speedway next Saturday night for the NASCAR Nationwide Series, 7:30 Eastern time, ESPN2. Big crowd, great racing. Look forward to that. And then next Sunday, the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series. Speaking of big crowd and great racing, at Pocono Raceway, the 3 distinct corners, 3 different length straightaways. That'll be fun next Sunday starting at noon Eastern time.
One less distinct corner than what we have here. We have 4 here, down to 3 next week. Should be a lot easier, shouldn't it?
Been seeing a lot of guys looking like they're shutting it off and trying to save some fuel, Vince.
With Chad Canals, 25 to go. Chad, are you guys okay fuel-wise?
Well, I'm not going to tell you just yet, but I think we got a good shot of making it.
You started to.
I started to, maybe. We'll have to see. You know, I just couldn't be prouder of everybody on this Cobalt team and everybody at Hendrick Motorsports. A lot of effort went into this race car to get it ready to come here to the Brickyard to try to win this event, and it's been good. Jimmy's done a great job today. The pit stop's been good, and it's just fun being out here with Hendrick Motorsports and Lowe's.
You had a little bit of debris on the front of the car when that yellow came out. Were you able to get it off?
Yeah, he pulled up to the back of the pace car and got that low pressure area and then fell right off the grill. So yeah, I think we're good to go there.
Thanks, Chad. Alan?
All right, Vince, thanks.
There's your confirmation. Clean grill. Try to keep the RPMs as low as possible under caution. You can see there, around 4,000 RPMs. And now you see it get down to 0. He shut it off. You can see how they're trying to save fuel. Still shut off.
Now, while you're watching that, Andy, I will update you that during the last caution, remember we saw that big accordion down in turn 1? NASCAR came on its race control channel and told all the teams you must maintain speed in line. So if you shut it off, you can't let that guy in front of you get too far away.
Yeah, they'll give your spot to somebody else.
Kyle Busch running third, Dave.
He is indeed Dave Rogers making the calls for him this afternoon. Dave looking at a third place right now, and some mystery things that have gone away. Don't seem to be any issue whatsoever. What about his track position at this point and the speed of the car?
Yeah, right now you have to keep all the track position you can. Everybody in the field is tight on fuel, but I think these caution laps put us all in a position where we can make it. A green-white checker will make it interesting, though.
So, good on the regular distance?
Yeah, we're good on regular distance.
All right, and then stay tuned for the rest, Doc.
All right, Matt Kenseth coming out of the Care Center. Matt, it looked like you just about had that thing cleared.
Yeah, but that doesn't count. So, yeah, it was disappointing. End of the day, we didn't run particularly well and just kept losing positions. It kept being on outside them restarts, and then the farther we got back, the dumber people drove and just kind of got us in some bad spots. So I should have had better restarts, and then we just got ourselves too far behind. We didn't have a real good car anyway, but we had a better car than where we were there then.
Momentum-wise, what are your thoughts on the point? You came in here as the points leader. Obviously, you will not leave here as the leader.
You know, you run as hard as you can every week. You try to be smart. You try to race hard, pick your battles, get the best finish you can every week, and then points kind of take care of themselves. So I'm more worried about getting this behind us, try to go next week, and try to go out and get a win.
Thank you very much, Matt. Matt Kenseth, okay, but wanting to build some momentum for the chase, guys.
All right, Doc, thanks. Certainly disappointing end of the day for Matt. 27 cars are on the lead lap. The field coming to the opening of pit road. It will be open this time to the lead lap cars. Any takers?
We'll see if there's somebody that just absolutely can't make it. But I think a lot of them are going to gamble it. They'll have another caution, they'll have opportunity to save fuel, and see them all shutting them off. So that tells you that they're staying out.
I'd say outside the top 10 back there somewhere, we might get some takers just to get some tires and a little more fuel, make sure they've got enough. Here comes a few.
I was thinking somebody like Regan Smith, who'd slipped so far back after their strategy play on the last one, put some fresh tires and some fuel and see what happens. Tony Stewart, 13th position, our ESPN in-race reporter on the day.
Hey, Tony, Dale Jarrett, you got it?
Sir.
Well, you look like you've made things better with your race car. You're moving forward there and elected to stay out there.
Yeah, it's getting pretty ornery out here now. Addington's doing a good job with the changes, and just having the biggest problem we're having, spiking guys that want to block and change lanes. I've had enough of that. It's not, we're not road course racing, so they change lanes and block me, they're going to get parked. I've had it.
So your patience has run out for this day, huh?
Well, guys are getting themselves boxed in behind guys, and then when you get a run on them and do your job, they want to change lanes and block you. Ambrose ran Jamie McMurray clear off the racetrack on the backstretch, and you just kind of sit here as a driver, and you say, I'm to the point where I've had enough of it for the day, so we're gonna fight for everything we can get, and it may not be the last guy that gets their feathers ruffled if they block anymore.
All right, man. Good luck. Keep moving forward. Talk to you later.
Thanks, bud.
The very entertaining Tony Stewart giving you an idea.
I think he means it. Nothing else. You get honesty, don't you?
That's what the emotions are like behind the wheel as the intensity builds toward the finish here at Indianapolis. That's fun.
In the closing laps of this 19th running of the Brickyard 400, 22 laps to go, and an interesting situation coming up on this restart. Jimmy Johnson on 4 tires, Greg Biffle on 2.
I would be a little bit more concerned if Greg Biffle was on the inside on 2 tires. I think his car would have a tendency to get loose like we saw Brad Keselowski do. I think Jimmy on 4 tires on the bottom is good, and I think being on the outside on 2 tires is good for Greg Biffle.
I'm watching Denny Hamlin to see if he can get back up. We saw the lap that he laid down in qualifying. He was so fast. I think he's the only car in that top 5 that can run wheel-to-wheel with Jimmy Johnson.
Well, guys, we saw the restart yesterday in a nationwide race, how important it is. With only 21 laps to go, Jimmy Johnson with those 4 tires, he's got to get a killer restart right here. He's got to clear Greg Biffle getting into turn 1 so Jimmy's car doesn't get loose and get sideways like we saw many times today. So to me, this restart is going to be important for Jimmy.
You win 4 races at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and it puts you into some pretty rare air. Jimmy Johnson has the chance to do that today for his boss, Rick Hendrick. He's won a couple of these races, right, Vince?
That's right, Nicole. In fact, a lot of good things happening for Mr. Hendrick and company today with Jimmy in the lead. Dale Jr. is taking over the points lead. Jeff Gordon running in the top 6. How nervous are you at this point, hoping it sticks that way?
It's been a good day so far. I think we said it a minute ago. Cars are running really well. I'm proud of all of the guys, and it's been a great day. But, you know, 25, 20 laps here is like eternity. So, you know, we got a good shot. So I'm just going to keep my fingers crossed and hope we have no more cautions and we're not one of them.
Thanks, Mr. Hendrick. Let's go to Alan.
Hendrick cars running in the lead, running in 5th, running in 6th. There are 50 miles to go. Tony Stewart's description of the intensity this race has taken on after the last restart. Here we go again. Squeeze for second spot off turn 2 as Kyle Busch tries to get clear of Greg Biffle.
Kyle Busch drove it deep into turn 3. He's able to make it stick, though. Takes that second spot.
And Jimmy Johnson got away while those two were racing side by side.
And Jeff Gordon and Denny Hamlin lost some spots too on that restart. Ryan Newman able to move forward.
Oh boy, Kevin Harvick squeezing through. Brad Keselowski. Here's Paul Menard, 27, trying to take advantage with Mark Martin in that outside lane. Now some of the cars with fresher tires from that last pit stop trying to pick up some spots. '78 Regan Smith, one of those who stopped Marcos Ambrose in the 9.
Trevor Bayne with a good run off of there. Right here.
Who pitted. Brad Keselowski around Kevin Harvick for 10th spot. Remember, Keselowski led over 50 miles of this race, was on an alternate pit strategy with most of the other front runners. He and Jimmy Johnson running 1 and 2 for a pretty significant chunk of the race. And then Keselowski slipped on a restart and fell from first, racing for first, to 7th, and he's not been back at the front since.
You know, we talked about how difficult it is just to find your way back after any type of mistake. Tony Stewart, who's been well outside the top 10 most of the day, used that inside starting spot on that restart where he restarted 13th. Able to make a couple of passes and up tonight.
Damage there on Mark Martin's car.
He got up against the wall for a long time.
Pretty hard hit right there.
Still digging.
Trying to get the 11th spot there from Kevin Harvick. 56-24. Martin Truex Jr. up to 7th. Jeff Gordon trying to get back a couple of the spots he lost on that restart by being stuck in that outside lane.
Well, it all got started back on that pit stop whenever they were just off a little bit. That put him back, and that got him restarted on the outside the last 2 restarts, and he just hasn't been able to recover. Truex, though, having a great day. He's been just solid there most of the time, right inside the top 10.
Yep. Quick update off camera. Kurt Busch's car has gone to the garage and been retired from the race with engine problems. There's Jimmy Johnson, the leader. Look how far he got away from Kyle Busch on that restart, while Busch and Greg Biffle were racing for 2nd. Earnhardt Jr. 3rd. I'm sorry, Earnhardt Jr. 4th. And then Ryan Newman up into the number 5 spot.
It's another team that needs to win another race and get in the chase.
Yeah, he really took advantage of lining up on the inside on that last restart, 7th, and was able to make a couple of passes and get himself up into that 5th spot. Denny Hamlin trying to close in on him. Keselowski, he's made that spot, taking that spot, night spot away from Tony Stewart, but Tony hanging in the top 10. I'd say he might be pretty satisfied with a top 10 the way most of his day has gone here.
He was running as low as 32nd at one point in this race.
Been one of those character building weekends for this team.
Is that what you call it?
Yeah. Had to work hard for it.
Somehow I have a feeling Tony might use a different term. So the 27, that neon yellow car come through. The defending winner, Paul Menard. Carl Edwards coming through there. Came to pit road early in the race with an engine not firing the way he wanted. He's 4 laps down. One point, Menard had moved himself up as high as 7th. But the break on the last couple of restarts has played in his favor.
Since that outside line, Alan, as you pointed out early on these restarts, is even worse this year than what we've seen it in the past. It just hasn't, they just haven't ventured out there and gotten any rubber down on that part of the track at all.
Brad Keselowski right behind these 2 cars. He's had a really fast car all day long. They had the best strategy going for a while, able to keep that lead, but they had that one bad pit stop after they had lost that time that they lost when they got out of the groove leading. And just haven't been able to drive it back up. But his car's fast right now. He actually ran the 3rd quickest lap on the track last lap. Like I say, everything has to be right. You can't make mistakes anywhere. Not on the pit stops, not on the restarts. Just getting out of the groove, leading the race, went back, and then had the bad pit stop. Here they are.
Jimmy Johnson with a 2.2-second lead on Kyle Busch. 12 laps to go at Indianapolis, Vince.
Jimmy Johnson makes no bones about the fact that this race is special. His hero was Rick Mears. Mears won here 4 times, and you can imagine what that would mean to Jimmy if he could finish the job today and get it done. Chad Knaus has told him, save the tires in case we have a late restart, but otherwise you're good. Dave?
Kyle Busch has seen the back end of that 48 car so many times. He's beat him a few times, but this would be the place to really take it to Jimmy Johnson. There were a few laps where Kyle was faster, but Jimmy now laying down the faster laps, and it's going to be tough for this 18 to catch him and win the race. Greg Biffle, we talked earlier how this aggressive driver has such car control, and he's been able to do it through here through a 2-tire stop and maintain his track position. For Biffle to take his Ford to victory lane, also huge here, but he's got a long way to catch him at this point. Vince?
Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s crew chief Steve Letarte said, we've got to come from 20th. I don't think we can do it without some major strategy gambles unless we just have a rocket today. No major strategy gambles for the 88. They've had a rocket. They've won this year, and today, at this point, they are the points leader in the Sprint Cup chase for the championship. Dave?
Remember, just the last race in the Sprint Cup Series was all Denny Hamlin's until a late pit stop. It was a miscommunication between himself and crew chief Darian Grubb. Darian told me this morning we're over that. We don't even know how it happened. Our communication's been so good, but today they have communicated well. Denny had fallen back. He moved his way back up. He's within reach. He'll need a caution to get there, Alan.
Well, the trend at Indianapolis is for there to be that late caution. 7 of the last 10 races here at Indianapolis. The last green flag run was 11 laps or less. We have now 10 laps to go in this race. Countering that trend, there's only been a green-white checker finish here 1 time. And that was actually the very first of the green-white checker overtime finishes ever in the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series, just after they put that rule in. Been in this position before, Dale, out in front, heading to the late laps. You have a good race car, obviously. You've been here before. as Johnson has in so many crucial situations. Is he immune to nerves?
No, you're still nervous. You still have to do your job. You see him still sliding the car around off the corner there. You still have to do your job. Anything can happen here. You have to stay totally focused. We talk about hitting your marks every single time. There are 4 difficult corners every single lap that you have to encounter. If you slip just a little bit, you find yourself out of the groove and into the wall, the race could be gone.
And key moment of this late stretch of the race was when Johnson got away on that last restart, and Greg Biffle and Kyle Busch raced side by side for second through turns 1 and 2. That allowed Johnson to open that gap and put himself in position to score this win. Jeff Gordon finally going to get around Martin Truex Jr. He's worked on him for about, 8-9 laps.
He really worked him hard, and Martin Truex was doing a great job of holding him off, but Jeff Gordon's had a fast car. Just unfortunately, it doesn't look like today's going to be the day to get it in victory lane. Oh, almost into the wall with the right rear off of 4.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. continuing to be steady and strong and near the front of the pack every week. Of course, breaking the long dry spell earlier this summer. And in that conversation with Steve Letarte and Jr. that Marty Smith had earlier on NASCAR Countdown, Marty said, tell us why you can win the championship this year. And Letarte's very quick answer back was, tell us why we can't. Can they?
Well, they've already proved right there. Those points results as they run shows you just how solid they've been this year. Their performance has been there every week. They've taken advantage of it once. They've won 1 race, but they've been right there. They've been the top 5 consistently.
I think today's a perfect example. He didn't get the qualifying effort in and lap that they wanted yesterday, starting back in 20th. Drove this car up inside the top 10, now inside the top 5. That's what championship teams are made of. You can't win every week, and yeah, there's a lot of people that go about it a little bit differently, but Junior's very solid, and the way he's performing, that is how you win championships.
I found the conversation about Junior's level of engagement with the race team and how much it's grown to have been a fascinating one. How he said, I'm learning stuff now 12 or 14 years in.
Well, you have to continue to learn. And, I think one thing that Junior struggled with, as some other drivers have, is this car. Even though they've been running it for quite a few years now, there's still things about it that are totally different than what he grew up and learned to race on and drive. And so I think that he's adapting a lot more to that and what it takes to run fast and be in contention a lot more with these cars.
Junior kind of drove it into 3 hard there, trying to get Greg Biffle. Lost the car length or so. Here comes Jeff Gordon, trying to get 6th place from Ryan Newman.
Yeah, you can see he got up a little bit close to Newman's bumper there. Newman a little bit loose. Gordon able to take the spotlight. Yes, right now.
Going to be a what might have been day for Jeff Gordon, I think, when he climbs out of this car.
Yeah, their problem is they've been solid all year. If they're running out of time, they're going to have to win 2 of the last 6 if they think they're going to get in the chase or have any chance to get in there.
But the kind of car they had today, they had one that was good, but it wasn't great. But on long runs, they were great. And they lost all that track position, then they weren't able to take advantage of that late run speed.
Casey Kane in the 5 thought he'd be a factor in the race today. Picked up some damage on a fender earlier. Put a crimp in the handling of the car. Now he's back racing for 13th place with the defending winner, Paul Menard. And still got his hands full. And Jimmy Johnson coming around to 4 laps to go. 4 will be a key number on this day for Jimmy. Trying to secure his 4th win here at Indianapolis. There's the gap. Jimmy back to Kyle Busch.
We watched him yesterday in qualifying take what was an extremely loose race car. Didn't get it into the wall. Got a lot out of it where a lot of drivers would have just tried to maybe nurse it around. Jimmy still drove it hard, and he's accustomed to that. He does a lot better, as he admittedly says, driving a looser car, and he's done a well of a job here today.
Been a little bit of a love-hate thing the last few years with this racetrack for Jimmy. Of course, he's got the 3 wins, but the last couple of years, he's finished 22nd and 19th in this race.
Yeah, right there, that kind of explains it. He's either going to win or not have a very good day here.
So much talk about Jimmy and Chad Knaus and the dynamic duo and all they've accomplished together. 5 consecutive championships and wins in the big races. And because of people's rooting interests in the present, you get people that don't like you, and you get people that like you. You're both fully well aware of that. But in hindsight, this group together and individually are going to be looked back on as being some of the very best ever.
And they're not finished. See right here, they're going to look like they're on their way to winning this one. They look pretty good for the championship, too, to me.
Yeah, and you say they're going to be looked back on. I think that they need a little more praise and a little more attention while they're doing all of this. I don't think Jimmy Johnson gets enough credit at the talented driver that he is. I think that so many people think he's with Hendrick. He has one of the, if not the best in Chad Knaus, that he should get it done, but you still have to go get it done, and he does it all the time, especially in the big races.
Casey Kane making some late hay, looking to pick up another spot. This is 12th place he's in a race with for Kevin Harvick. So many stories. Hendrick Motorsports looking for an 8th win in just 19 years of this event.
Looking at 10 straight for Chevrolet here at this track.
That was the next one. And Jimmy Johnson, who grew up in Southern California, said Rick Mears was one of his idols. One of the people he looked up to most.
Coming to the white flag, almost 6 seconds on the 18th.
The story there from the spotter down to Jimmy. As indeed he comes down the front straightaway and sees the white flag. Final lap is underway for the leader in Indianapolis.
Such a tremendous feeling to know that you and your team have put it all together. You show up for the big races, you know you have one chance a year to get it all done, Andy, and this team is there.
They've executed well all day long. It's paying off here on this last lap. One thing I love about Jimmy Johnson, though, is it never gets old. It'll be just like he won his first Brickyard race.
Johnson said you come through the tunnel and history starts talking to you, and he's so happy to have had 3 special moments for himself at this track. Said, I hope to have a 4th. His hero, Rick Mears, won the Indianapolis 500 4 times. They've got something to talk about. As Johnson clears the final corner and the checkered flag is in the air. A 4th win in the Brickyard 400 to Jimmy Johnson. A 4.7-second margin of victory over Kyle Busch. You see the cars as they come across the finish line at the top of your screen, including a tight squeeze.
I'll let you call that one.
Between Almirola and Smith for 18th. Vince, they led 99 of 160 laps today, and they are going to kiss the bricks together for a 4th time.
Chad Knaus, you told me this morning that historic milestones aren't on your radar right now, but today you guys flex a muscle in a pretty big race. What's your perspective of that whooping you issued?
You know, it was just a fantastic weekend all the way around. We had a well-deserved weekend off last weekend. Everybody got a little bit of time off, and I think the whole team came in pretty energized this weekend and ready to go. A lot of effort came in working on this race car. Same race car we had in Dover, Delaware that we won with, so it's 2-0 right now, so it's a pretty special little car for us. And everybody worked really hard. I couldn't be happier with what we've got. Everybody at Hendrick Motorsports, the engine department, everybody at Chassis Shop, and obviously everybody in the 4888 shop just did a spectacular job. And you know, Jimmy, he's awesome.
Jimmy said that he's learned to run this race better and learned to drive this track better, and it's helped you set the car up better. How much of that did we see this weekend?
I think we saw it from the first time we got on the track this weekend. We, you know, especially with the condensed schedule that you've got here, if you don't come off the truck pretty close and the driver really able to tell you what's going on, you can get lost quickly and never get it back. And we came in calm and ready to go and energized, and Jimmy was giving great feedback from the time he got on the track. So it was all up to him. He did an awesome job today.
Great team effort for the 48 today. Winners at the Brickyard.
Talked about when we came on the air how much effort and energy teams invest in bringing their best to Indianapolis and how much this racetrack demands excellence in every way. What a great race car today. Strategy, pit stops, all executed perfectly.
Yeah, everything was perfect. Car was just outstanding. Crew did their job. Driver obviously did his job.
Yeah, it makes your job so much better when your pit crew can do their job throughout the entire race. You don't have to make up any positions. Jimmy never was seriously back in traffic to where he really had to negotiate all that, but he did just a fantastic job of driving this race car.
The big drivers perform on the biggest stage. Jimmy Johnson, a Daytona 500 winner, a couple times Southern 500 winner, a 3-time Coca-Cola 600 winner, and now ties Jeff Gordon for most wins all time at Indianapolis in NASCAR competition with his 4th victory in the Brickyard 400. Matt Kenseth with his difficulties during the day, so Dale Earnhardt Jr. becomes the leader in the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series Championship after a 4th place finish today, Mike.
One heck of a run for the 88 team. How would you assess the afternoon?
Well, we just you know, had some good fortune of starting on the inside on those last few restarts. We had about a 4th to 8th place car, and you know, just seemed to get some good fortune on how the restarts lined up for us at the end. And the car was fast. I was trying to pass Biffle, but just sitting there behind him, good aero tight, couldn't get no closer than I was.
And with it, you are now the point leader. What's that like as this regular season now winds down?
Yeah, you run in the top 5 and the top 10 enough, you'll get enough points. But we'd like to win some more races. And I know our fans would like us to win some more races too. So we're working real hard, real happy with our result today. Happy for Hendrick Motorsports and for 488 Shop, and everybody's got to be happy with what happened today. We had all the cars run pretty good. So we'd like to win more races though. So you know, we're just going to work hard for that.
Dale Earnhardt Jr., the point leader for the first time since 2004, Alan.
And a quick look at the championship standings. With now 6 races to go until the field that will compete for the title is determined on what should be a very fun Saturday night in Richmond in early September.
Clint Boyer lost a spot, back to 10th. Brad Keselowski moves up 1.
And Martin Truex with a solid day moves up a spot to try to keep himself inside that top 10.
And all of those drivers, Boyer with a full race lead over 11th place. Remember, top 10 on points make the championship. And the wild card picture based on those in 11th through 20th in points and most number of wins. So Casey Kane will still have the wild card lead. Kyle Busch will have that number 2 spot. Carl Edwards with his difficulties today. 5th place finish for Jeff Gordon today, Dave.
Yeah, he sure could have used one of those wins, Alan. Jeff, where did you fall behind today in the 24 car?
Track position. You know, we had a car that could compete for the win. I think we were probably one of the only ones that really could compete with the 48. Congratulations to Jimmy and Chad and that whole Lowe's team and Rick Hendrick. I mean, they're that good, you know, and they deserve to be in victory lane today. They were the best team, you know, and they had a fast race car. But we had as good as a race car, if not better. We just could never get the track position, and when we did, you know, it was so hard to pass. But you know, our drive-in hunger. Chase Credit Card Services Chevrolet was awesome. We lost some track position, and then the restarts, I started on the outside both times, and that definitely didn't do us any favors. So it's hard to pass, and it was a solid day for us. You know, can't complain about it too much. Just would like to have been up there to battle with Jimmy, at least make it a little harder on him. My gosh, he had it pretty easy there at the end.
Weren't too many that could keep up with him today, but a solid day for the four-time winner, Jeff Gordon.
Well, he had enough fuel to get to the checkered flag. He had enough fuel to do the burnout. He didn't have enough fuel to get to victory lane.
Almost. It made it right to the entrance.
But continuing the day-long assistance of the 48 team, they'll get him there. And our victory lane interview presented by Pennzoil. Jimmy Johnson is the winner.
A.J. Foyt, Al Unser Sr., your hero, Rick Mears, Michael Schumacher, Jeff Gordon, and now Jimmy Johnson, four-time winners at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. What's that mean to you?
Wow. And that victory lap going around the track is something special. And big thank you to all the fans out there cheering. Lets it really soak in. I hear you out there. Thank you. I mean, you just hope to race here, you know, to come here and win is a huge honor, and then have four wins. I'm lost for words, but I can tell you this, I'm so proud of my team, so proud of it, everybody at Hendrick Motorsports, Lowe's, Cobalt Tools, Chevrolet, Chad Knaus. He gave me one heck of a race car today, and pit road was awesome too. So it was a total team effort, and we put it on them today. That was nice.
I know that you appreciate the history of the sport, and in particular, as a kid, your hero was Rick Mears, who won here 4 times. You always dreamed of racing here in an Indy car, maybe someday winning the Indy 500. And now what's it mean to join Rick as a 4-time winner, your hero at Indianapolis?
And it's wild, and you know, Gordon as well. I looked up to him, and it was really wild for me to get my start driving in a Cup car for him. So to tie both of those guys and what they've accomplished, again, I just hope to come here and race. I had no idea this would turn out, and I can remember back to watching the 500 with my grandfather and my dad sitting on the couch, you know, watching the 500 take place, and my grandfather told me stories about Indy and that he came here and he was at the racetrack. So, you know, I'm glad to have my own memories here, and for my family, you know, I must say, I couldn't do it without the support of my wife and my daughter, and it's a total team effort on all fronts.
There have been many heroes and legendary performances at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Jimmy Johnson has just added his name to that prestigious list.
The celebration is on. Well-deserved victory for Jimmy Johnson. Chad Knaus, team owner Rick Hendrick with his 8th victory at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And a day when Johnson and the 48 team led 250 miles of the 400 in the race. Fought hard on several restarts. Even were a back-and-forth strategy battle. And Johnson and company continuing to add to their legacy at this racetrack and in NASCAR Sprint Cup Series racing. 4 victories for Johnson and team. Today was number 4. They're getting ready to kiss the bricks again.